those who have been affected by those events in Morocco.
And with moments to kick off, we say, Noni, give us a song!
So, in terms of Chelsea's team news, no Moises Caicedo. He's the latest to join their incredibly lengthy injury list with a knock to the knee. There's no Noni Madueke, who had been struggling with his fitness, or Mark Cucurella in the squad either. As we say, Chilwell drops to the bench, Gallagher takes the armband, Leslie Ugochukwu makes his full Premier League debut, and Mykhailo Mudryk makes his first Premier League start of the season. It'll be Bournemouth to get us underway, but just a word on Chelsea's injury list, Glenn. It is remarkable.
Yes, it is, and it seems to have been for quite a while now, and I suppose when the injury list has been so long for so long, you've got to start looking at the training methods and the medical squad, and I'm sure those internal investigations will be going on at Chelsea.
So we're underway here on the south coast. Bournemouth, it is in possession, kicking from left to right in this first half in their traditional home kits. The reds and black striped shirts, the black shorts and the black socks. Chelsea in their third kit today, a light green affair, very pale colour, with black stripes down the side of the shirts and the shorts. Bournemouth in possession over on the far side as Ouattara plays the ball forward, well challenged down in that right back position by Chelsea. Will clear the ball away. Good work over on that far side by the standing captain, Conor Gallagher. Chelsea have the throw deep inside their own territory. So we can take you through the lineups. Bournemouth with Neto in goal. Back four of Aarons, Zabani, Kelly and Kirkez. It's been very impressive since his summer arrival from AZ Alkmaar. Ahead of them it's Billing and Cook, with Ouattara making his first appearance of the season after injury. Christie and Tavernier also back in the starting lineup, supporting Dominic Solanke, the former Chelsea man, up front as the ball is all the way back with Chelsea's goalkeeper Robert Sanchez all in yellow. Chelsea with the ball inside their area. Thiago Silva plays it back to Sanchez, who plays it calmly forward to Ugochukwu. Out to the left-hand side, Chelsea going. Mudryk gets involved here as Ugochukwu, once more 19 years of age, making his first Premier League start after arriving in the summer from Rennes. Out to the right-hand side go Chelsea, and Malo Gusto, another who arrived in the last 6 months or so, back in January officially, but spent the rest of last season on loan at Lyon, making his Chelsea debut this season. Slips on the ball, it's still challenging conditions, and Bournemouth come over the halfway line. Left-hand side, Gusto does well, gets the foot back in and plays it down the right-hand side, looking for the run of Raheem Sterling, approaching the penalty area for Chelsea. Sterling still going, good run, Enzo Fernandez drives it in, and it's straight down the throat of Neto.
Yes, it was Sterling, just glided in from the right-hand side, laid a lovely ball to Enzo Fernandez, who's met it perfectly. The weight of the pass was brilliant from Sterling. He meets it and just doesn't quite catch it, and Neto will be very happy to see it just end up right at his feet.
Bright start this from Chelsea, but they've been dispossessed by Tavernier, who himself is dispossessed on the halfway line, and Thiago Silva picks it up. Lovely layoff from the World Cup winner Fernandez. Plays it forward to Mudryk, and now forward to Nicholas Jackson, who's looking to get on the ball. Nice back heel on the edge of the area. Mudryk into the box, forced wide, pulls the ball across, and it's deflected away as Gallagher was coming in. Chelsea are appealing for the corner. Which way is it going to go? Our referee, David Coote, says that it is a corner. His official on the far side points that yellow flag down to the corner flag to his right, and Chelsea will have a set piece. They've started brightly, Glenn.
Yes, they have, as we expected them to, but there when Mudryk gets to the byline, he's only about 6 yards away from Conor Gallagher, and I just wonder, can he try and find his feet rather than fizz it in at waist height from such a short distance, and Gallagher can't control it.
Well, they've taken the corner short. It comes out to Conor Gallagher, who dinks the ball into the penalty area. Bournemouth chest it down. Yes, it's Gallagher with the effort from the angle he's got. I'm not sure whether it was a corner, but Bournemouth have dealt with it, and they've won the free kick as well, just outside the centre circle, and a very early yellow card here. And that is not good news for Chelsea. Dominic Solanke it was, being pursued by Raheem Sterling, and the card is out very quickly. It is a mistime challenge from Sterling, but worthy of a booking there, Glenn?
Well, I mean, in the first 5 minutes of the game, I think it was a really soft one. Yes, Bournemouth were on the ascendancy in the attack, but it was around the halfway line. It was a definite try to get the ball. It wasn't a cynical foul, and the referee deems it a yellow card.
So, early yellow card for Raheem Sterling. Bournemouth have another set piece just inside their own half, and let's head for an update from the tennis, the Davis Cup. Russell Fuller.
The news gets worse for Dan Evans. The British number 2 is a set and 2 love down to Arthur Fils of France. This the first of the 3 matches that Great Britain and France will play today. The winners going to the knockout stage of the Davis Cup finals in November.
Flag is up against Ouattara on the far side, so free kick to Chelsea. Let's head for an update from the Singapore Grand Prix. Commentary is over on 5 Sports Extra, and Harry Benjamin can bring us the latest.
There, fighting and holding on for so long, unable to hold on too long. Sainz currently leads Russell, Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc. It's lap 36. Sainz, though, just a second in front of Russell for the time being.
Thanks very much, Harry, and you can listen to commentary over on 5 Sports Extra. Here on the south coast of the Vitality Stadium, it is goalless between Bournemouth and Chelsea. 5 minutes played here on 5 Live's Len Murray.
Well, you mentioned the weather, Vicky, and I think this is probably the first day of autumn. Summer has officially passed, as it's, like you say, it's been torrential rain down here. But one thing that it does make for is fast football. The slick surface, both teams really moving the ball round. And I expect a little bit more energy in the game today. There's no excuse of it being too hot.
Chelsea in possession, just inside the Bournemouth half. Yes, thunder and lightning on the drive down as I was coming into the Vitality Stadium. It is a pretty heavy drizzle at the moment, and as Glenn says, the surface is sodden. Here is Tavernier, just on the halfway line. Pulls it back to Ilya Zabani. And Tavernier once more, left-footed, looking for the run of Solanke. It's headed down in the centre by Axel Disasi for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling, lovely footwork on the halfway line. Plays it out to the right-hand side. Here is Nicholas Jackson, well marshalled by Lloyd Kelly. So Jackson will pull it back to the arriving Malo Gusto. Interchanges passes with Gallagher. Pulls it back to Ugo Chukwu. Now out to Gusto once more. Gallagher, nicely worked by Chelsea. Well intercepted by Bournemouth, though, just outside their own penalty area. And here is Solanke, just outside the centre circle. Plays it out to Tavernier, who's over on this right-hand side at the moment for Bournemouth, with Ouattara taking up that left-wing position. Christie sitting in the number 10. Here he is, Scotland man. Plays it back to Zabani. And we have time. Bournemouth knock it around just inside their own half to take you through the Chelsea lineup. So Sanchez in goal. It's back four of Gusto, Disasi, Silva and Colwill. Ahead of them it's Gallagher, Fernandez and Ugo Chukwu. It's Sterling, Mudryk and Jackson up front. It is one of these that in possession, though, as we expected, Glenn, it almost turns into a bit of a back three for Chelsea, but Levi Colwill asked to alternate between the left centre-back position and that left-back position, which he's taking up once more. Yes, he is. Here, it really does look like a flat four at the moment with Thiago Silva on the ball. He's just looking for the next pass. Bournemouth actually sitting in here. He finds Gusto, who looks forward, but Conor Gallagher for me is picking up a lot of good pockets of space at the moment, just in between that Bournemouth back the defensive line and the midfield line, and that's something that definitely Lewis Cook needs to keep an eye on. Cook just getting the better of Gallagher there on the edge of the penalty area as Bournemouth have it inside their own box. 7 minutes played, goalless here on 5 Live. Commentary of Everton against Arsenal coming up from Goodison Park for you from 4:30 with John Murray and Paul Robinson. Do stay with us for that as the ball is all the way back with Neto. As Philip Billing plays it out to the left-hand side and Bournemouth build, we can head to the Rugby World Cup. South Africa against Romania. Claire Thomas has the latest.
The world champions are not messing around. They have 2 opening scores through scrum half Kobus Reinach and winger Makazole Mpipi. The conversion attempt sailed wide for the first. We're still waiting for the second conversion from Damian Valemsa. But South Africa leading Romania 10-0 and very much in cruise control.
Thank you, Claire. And commentary coming up on 5 Live at 8 o'clock of England against Japan. Do join us for that as the ball is cleared away by Levi Colwill. Intercepted by Aarons for Bournemouth. Chelsea get the foot on it though. Nicholas Jackson is dispossessed though by Zabani, and Christie will play it forward. Had a little look over his right shoulder there to Tavernier to say, where were you? Because I thought that was a good ball, but Tavernier hadn't anticipated it. Good interception by Cook getting back defending, and Chelsea have a throw midway inside their own half. 0-0.
Very high tempo game at the moment, isn't it? Both teams trying to string passes together, but the conditions are definitely playing their part. It's a little bit sloppy in possession, some, and missed touches, slips. A lot of players maybe with the wrong footwear on this afternoon. Seen a lot of them on the floor already. I wonder if there'll be a few changes of boots at half-time. Yeah, the drizzle has lessened, coming down very lightly now, but as Glenn says, the surface is still the issue here as Bournemouth win the set piece just outside the centre circle. Both managers were out on their
dotted white technical lines, but both sitting down now. Andoni Iraola and Maurizio Pochettino. As Bournemouth prepare to take this set piece. A third of the way inside the Chelsea half, central position. Bournemouth, who are still looking for their first Premier League victory under Andoni Iraola. They have won in the League Cup. 2 draws and 2 defeats so far in the top flight under his management, as they swing the free kick into the penalty area. Zabani was up there, couldn't make contacts, and the ball is behind for a Chelsea goal kick.
Yes, it was drilled in there from Bournemouth, and Saviani looked like he had the jump there, but I think it was Disasi just eased him under it, and out it goes, and ball's back in play.
So Thiago Silva out to the right hand side for Chelsea, well kept in by Gusto, who is in the team due to the absence of Reece James, one of those players that is on Chelsea's lengthy injury list. Lovely play in the centre by the teenager Ugo Chukwu. Plays it out to Enzo Fernandez, just outside the centre circle. Out to the right hand side he goes and finds Conor Gallagher, captain for the day. Dinks the ball into the area. Sterling pulls the ball across the 6-yard box. Mudryk wasn't close enough, and Bournemouth should be able to clear and do so towards the halfway line, but dangerous play there from Sterling as Chelsea send the ball forward once more. Mudryk can't control, and it's out of play for a Bournemouth throw. Glenn Murray.
Yes, and that all came from that pocket of space that Gallagher's managing to pick a brilliant flick ball through for Raheem Sterling. I wonder if he was going to shoot in the form he's in, but he doesn't. He squares it right across the 6-yard box, and he's left looking at Mudryk and Jackson saying, why aren't you arriving?
Chelsea in possession with Disasi. Sends it all the way back to Robert Sanchez, a player you know so well, Glenn, from your time at Brighton.
Yes, I do. He's now a Chelsea player, and he looks very comfortable in that yellow kit there.
Yep, arrived in the summer from Brighton, £25 million, 7-year deal. That's how they do it at Chelsea. The long contracts that are given to spread out those transfer fees. Such a summer of upheaval, and so many senior players departing. Likes of Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Eduardo Piliqueta, to name but 3. Raheem Sterling, though, one who stayed. Into the penalty area he goes, has it taken off his toes. Little ricochet might fall for Fernandez, cleared away by Bournemouth. Comes to Conor Gallagher, 25 yards out, sends it out to the right hand side, and Gusto. Gallagher is there as an option. Gusto held up on the right hand side of the area as Bournemouth keep their shape. Here is Gallagher, sends it back to Disasi, and now Thiago Silva. Bournemouth dropping deep, defending this wave of Chelsea attack, and they do so well. Good foot in by Zabani. Nicely played forward by Ouattara. Left by Solanke for Ouattara to continue his run. Tries to feed Tavernier, and Chelsea intercepts. Silva and Disasi will clear away up to Fernandez, but promising running there from Bournemouth. Goalless here on 5 Live as Chelsea send the ball out to the right hand side. Sterling, midway through the Bournemouth half, pulls it back to Gusto, the right back who loves to get forward. Pulls it back once more to Ugo Chukwu. Now Thiago Silva turns 39 next week. Pretty remarkable. The role that he still plays for Chelsea, so integral with the injuries they've got as well.
Still looks like a Rolls Royce out there, doesn't he? Dictating play a lot of moments already this afternoon, and also dictating players around him, which is very important. Experience in this young Chelsea squad. Absolutely,
as Jackson picks it up just outside the area, drives it in. Oh, it's just deflected off the base of the post. Nicholas Jackson with Chelsea's clearest chance of this match so far, but it remains goalless.
Yes, Nicholas Jackson, he gets the ball from Mudryk, just lets it roll off in 1-2. All opens up all of a sudden. He has his shot, and it's not a great shot. He doesn't catch it very well. It bobbles a couple of times before it manages to hit the base of the post, and even though it was close, I expect that Nicholas Jackson will be thinking, I should have done better with that opportunity.
Yeah, it's one of these where Neto almost looks as though he leaves it. He thinks it's going wide, and in the end it was just the width of the woodwork as Bournemouth play the ball over the top, looking for the run of Solanke. Disasi will head clear, but Solanke picks it up. Good control over on the far side by the former Chelsea man. Plays it off Gusto, who does well, goes down, wins the free kick from David Coote. That's good defending by Malo Gusto. But just going back to Nicholas Jackson, Glenn, I mean, 1 out of 7 big chances he's taken in the Premier League this season. Be interesting to see whether that is deemed a big chance as well. He's just outside the penalty area. It's a good chance, but I'm thinking in particular of the one that he missed against Nottingham Forest, 5 yards out over the bar. Mauricio Pochettino, as Chelsea have it midway through their own half, has talked about rushing his decision making and the nerves just needing to settle as Bournemouth clear that ball away. Is that what it comes down to? Just taking that extra second in those decisive moments?
I mean, that is ultimately what a goal scorer is being able to keep calm in that moment and keeping that clarity when that opportunity does arise and you think I'm going to score, but it's actually about keeping cool and putting the ball in the back of the net and then enjoying the moment, let's say. But the big chance thing, I mean, it's a difficult one for me. It's a stat sheet. Yes, I do agree he should have done better with the Nottingham Forest opportunity, but he was off balance. The circumstances, the ball was pulled back to him. It was just out of reach of him. The ball was always going to go up. That's the trajectory it was going to be from where he was stood and where the ball was. So I do feel for him when you say 1 in 7 big chances, and if that one there is classed as a big chance, then geez, I'm not taking any notice of that stat anymore.
We'll give him that. It'll stay as 1 in 7 from our perspective anyway. 0-0 here, 15 minutes played here on BBC Radio 5 Live between Bournemouth and Chelsea. Here is Gusto midway through the Chelsea half, plays it back to Disasi, and Robert Sanchez will pick it up as well and plays it forward to Thiago Silva. Colwill is there as an option. Thiago Silva will advance himself at a moderate walking pace. And 38 years of him, plays it forward to Enzo Fernandez. Found by Ugachukwu. Lovely turn by Mudryk as Chelsea roll forward again. Gallagher screaming for it. Mudryk still going. Eventually tried to play it through to Gallagher. Bournemouth get the interception in. It's a Chelsea corner. Could he have released that ball earlier, Mudryk?
Yes, that ball was on for quite a while. They just wanted to try and drag people in and make it the perfect pass, but just held on for it for a second too long, and that ball to Conor Gallagher was cut off. But good by Mudryk, gets into the middle of the pitch, a nice turn and drives at the heart of the Bournemouth defence, and that is ultimately why they bought him.
And Chelsea take the corner short again. Mudryk's delivery in, little deflection, and Neto watches it over, but it will be another corner to Chelsea. They're the better side at the moment.
Yes, they are. They're definitely settling into this game much better, more possession. But one thing Bournemouth have is willing runners when they do get the ball back. A platform in Solanke and Atara running off the back of him.
Again, they go short. Mudryk to Enzo Fernandez. Here is Conor Gallagher. 25 yards out. Closed down well by Philip Billing. Back to Fernandez, left-hand side. Mudryk down to the byline. Low ball across. Thumped away to safety by Max Aarons. And it will be another throw to Chelsea, who have Bournemouth pinned inside their own penalty area.
Yes, Bournemouth are just probing here at their vitality. They're just asking questions of this Bournemouth defence, and for me this is where this Chelsea team needs to get better, become clinical, keep the energy, don't let it become pedestrian like they do so many times, and you see them give it away very sloppily there.
Yeah, given away. Poor throw by Mudryk, and Billing will bring it forward for Bournemouth. Little interception by Colwill there, and it will go out for a throw to Bournemouth on the halfway line.
Yes, Colwill wasn't happy there that the linesman gave it to Bournemouth, but I think his reaction gave it away. He just got a tiny nick on the ball before it went out.
So throw to Bournemouth midway through the Chelsea half. Goalless here on 5 Live. Lewis Cook goes down, tripped by Enzo Fernandez, who waves his hand in frustration at our referee David Cook, but it is a free kick to Bournemouth.
Yes, it is, and it's in a good area. About 15 yards from the 18-yard box, be able to whip this in and ask some questions.
Oh, they've gone quick instead. Lewis Cook to Christie inside the area. Ouattara's there. Great save by Robert Sanchez. He read the danger. The rest of Chelsea's defence switched off, but the goalkeeper didn't, as Bournemouth send the ball back into the penalty area. Headed away by Chelsea. Tavernier picked it up. 25 yards out, now into the box. Shot deflected. Sanchez is there, pats it down and claims, and they have Sanchez to thank, Chelsea, for the fact that this is still 0-0.
Yes, brilliant play by Bournemouth. Quick ball to Christie, who plays it at the back post on the floor, and it's Atara that's arriving. Rob Sanchez with a fantastic save. He makes himself huge at that back post while diving along. Managed to keep the ball out of the back of the net, and just when we were praising Chelsea, all of a sudden Bournemouth burst into life.
And we'd have to praise Bournemouth there for the quick thinking from that free kick. Almost caught us out as well, Glenn, just telling us about how they were going to swing it in. I was thinking exactly the same thing. Oh, there you go, Lewis Cook. Nice thinking.
But we're the ones that they can catch out. It's the Chelsea ones that are not meant to catch out.
Very true. Very true. Chelsea in possession. Let's head to the tennis, Russell Fuller.
First match of the day in the must-win tie against France for Great Britain's Davis Cup team, and Dan Evans at the moment being overpowered by 19-year-old Arthur Fils. He's lost the first set and he finds himself 3-2 in a breakdown in the second, Evans.
Bournemouth in possession on the halfway line, breaking forward. Tavernier making the run, and Tavernier's got there ahead of Colwill. Thiago Silva's come across. Tavernier's ball in his paw and cleared away by Chelsea. Let's head for an update from the Singapore Grand Prix. Harry Benjamin.
Lap 45 of 62, and we have the virtual safety car out, which has thrown things up in the air. Our race leader, Carlos Sainz, has stayed out. He was under pressure from George Russell in the Mercedes, who has come into the pit lane. It'll be an interesting one to see how this feeds out for the rest of the race, with 62 laps in total, but it's Sainz who leads Norris, leads Leclerc.
Thanks, Harry. Commentary continues over on 5 Sports Extra. Chelsea in possession inside their own half. They go all the way back to Robert Sanchez to the Rugby World Cup. Claire Thomas.
Ireland defeated Romania 82 points to 8 last week, but the Springboks are gunning for that tally with their bonus point try in the bag inside 15 minutes. Reinach has his brace, and fly half Damien Willemse just put a whole host of Romanian ankles to the test with a scampering side in. 17 minutes played, and it's South Africa 26, Romania 0.
Thank you, Claire. Chelsea in possession, still midway inside their own half. It's goalless here in the Premier League's 2 o'clock kick-off at 4:30. Everton take on Arsenal. And we'll have full commentary for you from Goodison Park. Sliding challenge by Levi Colwill. David Coote says that is a free kick. Tavernier going down. And Bournemouth had the set piece just on the edge of the centre circle. Well, he was certainly committed there, Colwill.
Yes, he was. I think there's a little bit of frustration in that challenge. He tries to sweep the ball with his right leg, misses it, and does actually win it with his left, but he goes through the play to get it. And I think that frustration comes from Thiago Silva sitting on the ball, looking for an option in front, and when there's nothing on, he passes it to Colwill, and that seems to be a point where Bournemouth spring the press, and quite often Colwill's left with nothing but a ball up the line to Mudryk, who isn't really ready for it.
Former Bournemouth and Brighton striker Glenn Murray here with us on 5 Live this afternoon as Bournemouth play that free kick out to the left-hand side. It's 0-0. It's Lewis Cook into the penalty area now, headed on, Billing trying to reach it. They're all appealing for it. Bournemouth furious, they don't get the corner. Chelsea get the goal kick.
Well, the referee seen something different to us there from our angle, I think, didn't he, Vicky? Because that looked certainly like a Bournemouth corner. Atara got up high and it seemed to head it onto the back of Disasi and go out for a corner, but the referee seemed seen it from a different angle and gave a different decision.
Sanchez then takes this goal kick for Chelsea, again short inside the area, edge of the 6-yard box. Thiago Silva closed down, but clears up as Chelsea try and draw those Bournemouth players in so they can bypass them in the midfield. Here is Enzo Fernandez, goalless here on 5 Live. Lovely ball by Fernandez out to Gusto on the right hand side. He's got Sterling there with him. Here now is Raheem Sterling. Into the penalty area he goes, great run this, pulls it across, cut out by Lloyd Kelly. Just inside the 6-yard box, clears out of the penalty area. Chelsea come again. Gallagher finds Gusto down to the byline. Sterling blocks away, cleared away by Bournemouth. A few appeals from the away fans that might have hit a hand in there. Chelsea players not appealing, and eventually Bournemouth win the free kick on the edge of their penalty area. And it will be a set piece to Bournemouth. Neto will take it just outside the box. But Chelsea again looking dangerous with that wing plate.
Yes, they are. And Raheem Sterling, every time he's got the ball this afternoon, has been absolutely fantastic. He glided past the Bournemouth defence there. He looks so dangerous. And sometimes it's as simple as just keep giving him the ball.
Here goes Tavernier down the right-hand side. Well held up by Colwill, who was included in Gareth Southgate's England squad, unlike Raheem Sterling. Ball is back with Bournemouth inside their own half. Cook will play it out to Lloyd Kelly. What did you make of Sterling's omission by Southgate?
Well, with some of the omissions, I was very, very surprised, to be perfectly honest.
Here you go, Bournemouth into the penalty area, miscued by Christie, but does come to Solanke. Groans because his ballback only finds Kirkes. Wasn't in the best position, but Bournemouth still come. High ball into the area. Tavernier's there, flicked away by Colwill before it can reach him. And Mudryk is well challenged by Max Aarons. Ball goes out of play for a Chelsea goal kick.
Yes, Max Aarons has went in there and I think he's seen it as an opportunity to clatter Mudryk there, and he didn't really need to. Mudryk was going nowhere. I think the ball might have rolled out for a Bournemouth throw-in, but instead he decides to take a bit of Mudryk and give Chelsea the ball back.
So Chelsea goal kick. Sanchez is preparing to take it, but yeah, just going back to Raheem Sterling, Glenn.
Yes, sorry, I was very surprised. I think he's looked superb at the start of this season. He's definitely been the leading man for Chelsea on all aspects, and he looks like he's got the bit between his teeth this afternoon. And I wonder if that is because of the omission.
Here is Solanke just outside the area. Ouattara can't control. Ball will spin away, tries to keep it in Ouattara, but it's out for a Chelsea goal kick. Here's Sterling, who now has not played for England since the World Cup quarter-finals back in December. He was injured in March, so didn't make that squad. Left out by mutual agreement to aid his recovery in June, but he was fully available for September and not selected by Gareth Southgate, who acknowledged the frustration that Sterling would feel by that omission. Of course he will.
And when you mention those points and those injuries, this is probably at the start of this season the best form he's had during all that time, so to leave him out is such a strange decision when he sticks by certain others in his squad so solidly.
Chelsea in possession, just outside their own penalty area, inviting that Bournemouth press once again, and this is why now Gallagher can turn into space. They're still midway inside their own half, Chelsea, but they do have those gaps opening up as Sterling drives forward, central position, has the runner in Gusto. Gusto picks it up, pulls it across, and it's intercepted by Neto, who gathers inside his own 6-yard box, and if he doesn't get there, Nicholas Jackson, who's peeled off at the far post, has a potential tap in there.
Yes, he was there that time. Gusto plays it hard and low across, but Neto is equal to it, steps out, collects the ball better from Chelsea though, and it's all Conor Gallagher getting in that pocket, forward pass, and all of a sudden it opens up and it looks easy for Chelsea.
Bournemouth in possession, just outside their own penalty area, 0-0, back to the tennis. Davis Cup, Russell Fuller.
And from a breakdown at 3-1 to 4-3 up and back on serve in the second set for Dan Evans, but he has lost the first set to 19-year-old Artur Fils in the first of 3 matches. Great Britain against France, with a place in the knockout stages of the Davis Cup on the line.
Thank you, Russell. Here is Aarons for Bournemouth down the right hand side, up against Mudryk. Aarons still going, digs the ball into the penalty area, picked up by Christie, down to the byline, swings the ball across left footed. Billing tries to hook it down, can't quite control, and Conor Gallagher will bring it away for Chelsea, who are off on the counter. Dominic Solanke is racing to get back and help out defensively. Chelsea on the halfway line. Here is Gallagher out to the right hand side, and Gusto squares it to Gallagher once again. Impressive how Malo Gusto has settled in, given the injury to Reece James. I'm sure he wouldn't have expected to have this opportunity in the Chelsea starting lineup quite so early on in his Chelsea career.
Yeah, he was one that I was going to say there's been a lot of big money signings through the door at Stamford Bridge, but he is one that has just seemed to slip in seamlessly, and there's a little triangle forming over there on the right hand side for Chelsea of Gallagher, Gusto and Sterling, and that is the 3 that seem to be able to penetrate and hurt Bournemouth this afternoon.
Yeah, they're looking effective every time they go down the right. Chelsea, they're back with Robert Sanchez, their goalkeeper, just outside his own penalty area. But yes, Gusto, France under 21 international, only 20 years of age. Sanchez has it once more, lifts it out to the right hand side. Here is Disasi, looking for options, plays it to the edge of the D, and Thiago Silva will pick it up once more as Mauricio Pochettino stands with his hands in the pockets of his dark jacket. Chelsea play it over the halfway line. Here goes Nicholas Jackson, he's pursued by Tavernier. Got something on that, Tavernier, as he went in for the challenge. It wasn't the cleanest, but he did get the touch on the ball. And David Coote says, play on. Here are Bournemouth doing just that. Tavernier over the halfway line he goes and pulls the ball back into Lewis Cook. If we talk about the injury list that Chelsea have, huge for Bournemouth to have the likes of Ouattara and Tavernier available once more, both starting after their returns from injury. Philip Billing goes down, he was challenged there by Gallagher, illegally so. Bournemouth free kick.
Yeah, it's massive boost for Bournemouth to have Ouattara in the squad, a very attacking talent that, like I say, is a willing runner, and he is one that looks like he can get behind this Chelsea defence this afternoon. And also Tavernier scored a brilliant goal the other week, gets his start, and again another willing runner off the side of Solanke, and that's what they need this afternoon. They're going to defend for periods. When they get the ball, they need to be alert.
Here is Tavernier out to the left hand side, little deflection off Christie, but still runs for Bournemouth, won't quite do so inside the penalty area though. Gusto clears up towards the halfway line, headed away by Lewis Cook, who's had a good game. He's everywhere at the moment, it seems, in that central midfield for Bournemouth, as they have it on the left hand side. Here is Milos Kerkez, Bournemouth's 19-year-old, who has had a very good start to his Bournemouth career after arriving in the summer. Cook now has it on the halfway line, back to Philip Billing, who sends it all the way back to Zabani. But this is just a little encouragement for Bournemouth. Just enjoy a spell of possession, just take some of the sting out of that Chelsea attack as Tavernier goes down and wins another free kick.
Yes, Bournemouth definitely have settled into the game now. They're looking to build some attacks, and they've had the best opportunity so far, even though Chelsea have probably been the better team throughout. Bournemouth had the big chance, and it took a massive save from Rob Sanchez to keep the game at 0-0.
Yep, certainly the most meaningful action that either goalkeeper's been called into. Jackson at the other end hitting the post with a low dribbling shot as the ball is played forwards by Chelsea. Spins out of play, which Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola was quick to point out, and it will be a throw to Bournemouth. 2-year deal he signed after leaving La Liga side Rayo Vallecano. Very well there in his 3 years. Promotion to La Liga in the first season, Copa del Rey semi-finals in the second, 11th in the third. No mean feat in the Spanish top flight. Beat Real Madrid last season, did the double over Barcelona a couple of seasons ago. Certainly plenty of promise. This is Bournemouth side, look to show promise of their own outside the Chelsea penalty area. Christie drives it in, poor shot, cleared away by Chelsea. Jackson can't keep hold of it though. It's Chelsea's turn to get very deep, but the ricochet almost falling kindly for Jackson. He would have been in there, but it's tidied up by Zabani, who plays it back to Neto, 0-0.
And I think when you're talking about Iraola there, the Bournemouth manager, I think what he's done over in Spain at Vallecano, they see themselves as a similar sized club and what can be achieved, so they've took the chance on him. He's very highly thought of on the continent, and now this is his opportunity in the Premier League.
Here is Lewis Cook stepping away from Enzo Fernandez with ease. Plays it back to Lloyd Kelly. Up to the left-hand side goes Kelly to find Dongo Ouattara. That's Kirkez on the overlap. Ouattara still going though, and fires over the bar. I was trying to see if that would go out of the stand. Well, it hasn't done that, but it's gone out for a throw. So it went near the bar, then it curved away from the bar and went out for a throw. And
I was going to say, Vicky, your description of that shot was almost very kind as you said it goes over the bar. I was wondering which bar you were talking about. The bar that serves.
Yeah, the bar in the stand away to our right, that's what I meant, absolutely. Yeah, not quite on target from Ouattara. A little bit of frustration creeping in because Chelsea have been relatively effective at keeping Bournemouth out of the Chelsea penalty area. Thumped away by Colwill, off Billing. Ball goes out of play for a Chelsea throw, deep in their own territory, and let's head back to the Davis Cup. Russell Fuller.
Set around spectacularly. Artur Feast led by a set and 3-1, but won only 3 points after that as Evans won 5 games in a row. So Evans and Feast at 1 set all in the first of 3 matches against France.
Now, concern here for Bournemouth, by Colwell with the clearance of Philip Billings' boot, and the ball comes off Billings' boot. He's down receiving treatment as Chelsea get the game back underway, and he clearly has felt some discomfort there on the side of his foot or his ankle, Glenn Murray.
Yeah, it looked innocuous, the collision. I don't think it was actually a collision between the players. I think it was just the ball that hit Philip Billing, but as soon as it hit the bottom of his foot, like through his studs, he just seemed to have immediate discomfort, and he's writhing about in a bit of agony. And I just wonder, could it be a metatarsal injury?
Yeah, he's not happy, Billing. He's receiving treatment off the pitch. Chelsea have the ball on the halfway line, and as Glenn says, it's one of those, we're watching the replay thinking, well, he must have been caught there by Colwell, but it just looks like the impact of the ball, which is very unusual, but clearly has caught Philip Billing awkwardly. Bournemouth temporarily down to 10. Chelsea trying to take advantage. Cleared away by Lloyd Kelly. Let's head for an update from the Formula One. Harry Benjamin.
10 laps to go here in Singapore. Carlos Sainz is doing everything he can in that Ferrari to hold on for a first non-Red Bull race win since 2022. He's 1.5 seconds in front of Norris, Leclerc, but all eyes on George Russell's Mercedes in 4th and on new medium tyres.
Commentary over on 5 Sports Extra. Chelsea inside the penalty area. Madrid comes to Gallagher, takes a touch, works in for the shot. Oh, it's cleared away off the line. Brilliant defending by Bournemouth. Goes out in the end for a goal kick to Bournemouth as well. That is outstanding play to deny Conor Gallagher.
Yes, it is indeed, and it's Mudryk just flicks the ball in. I don't actually think he's looking for Gallagher. Gallagher gets it under his spell. It looks like he's going to shoot, but he just shifts it from under himself, moves the ball, therefore creates the space, shoots back across himself, swivels on it, but Neto gets down well to his right-hand side, keeps the game level.
Yeah, really good adjustment from Neto, wasn't it? Because it was a crowded penalty area. But it is still 0-0. Philip Billing is back on the pitch for Bournemouth, having received treatment for that foot injury, and he looks to be moving all right now, which will be a huge relief, as you say. Glenn Murray. He is absolutely huge for them. They're giving the ball away though. Here goes Thiago Silva midway through the Bournemouth half, advancing from that central defence position. Ball into the area, it's a poor delivery. Mudryk was in there, but it's Neto's all the way.
Yes, it was he's more of a hopeful ball, I think, that from Thiago Silva. He was on the edge of the 18-yard box, didn't know what he wanted to do with it and just shelled it in. And Neto caught it very easily. It was nowhere near Jackson, who was the intended target.
So Zabani bringing the ball forward for Bournemouth. Poor delivery. It's a thumbs up from Max Aarons, or maybe it's all of our times to be kind, isn't it? That's a kind thumbs up from Max Aarons. It was kind of me to say that ball was going over the bar from Ouattara when it went out for a throw, and yeah. I
think that was a fed-up thumbs up from Max Aarons, because he's made a long busting run down the right-hand side, and the ball was a little bit... It was a lackadaisical ball, is the best way I can describe it, and nowhere near him. And I think he was a little bit frustrated that he even made the run.
Free kick to Chelsea as Thiago Silva goes down midway through their own half. Can you put sarcasm into a thumbs up, Glenn Murray? Did you used to do that?
I probably wouldn't have put a thumbs up, in all honesty, Vicky.
Slightly different hand gesture, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think you can get away with that in the Premier League.
Free kick to Chelsea. Thiago Silva with one hand on his hip, just gingerly getting to his feet. Some of the momentum has rather drained from this game, hasn't it, as we approach 10 minutes to go until half-time.
Yes, the weather's brightened up, but the game's dulled down a little bit, I think, is the best way to put it. But both teams definitely probing and can break one another down. They've showed glimpses, but yet to find that killer pass.
And here come Bournemouth. Can they find it? No, Ouattara goes down, loses possession, and Raheem Sterling has it for Chelsea. Chelsea have hit the post through Jackson. Drawn a very good save by Gallagher on Neto. The ball is forward by Sterling, intercepted just inside the penalty area, and Lloyd Kelly will clear away for Bournemouth, who at the other end have seen Ouattara bring a very good save out of Robert Sanchez, and they've won a free kick over on the far side. They've done that well, Bournemouth, so far, drawing the fouls.
Yes, they have, especially Solanke. He's always been that option up front, and I actually think it's been too easy for him, because quite more than often he's against three players and he gets the ball into feet without any contact. That one, he does get the ball, and Diassi decides to just barge into him and give him a free kick.
They've dealt well with his run through the centre just there though, Chelsea. Thiago Silva calmly back to Robert Sanchez, and Chelsea play out once more. Here is Thiago Silva. Has the option of Colwill, just to his left hand side, but again slows the game to walking pace. Everton against Arsenal coming up at 4:30 in the Premier League here on 5 Live. Goalless here at the Vitality Stadium. Glenn Murray.
It almost looks like there's been a change of formation for Chelsea. They look like they've gone to a 3, and it's as if Enzo is playing left wing back here, has just been switched out the ball, but a definite change of philosophy from Pochettino's men.
Yeah, interesting. Good spot, Glenn. Enzo Fernandez at left wing back currently. Let's see where he drifts around to. He's currently trying to take this free kick quickly. Plays it in field to Hugo Chukwu, who after a bright start from the 19-year-old has rather drifted out of the game in that central midfield. Here is Thiago Silva, now Colwill, and it is, as Glenn says, this back three now for Chelsea in possession. Will it yield results? Out to the right hand side they go with Malo Gusto. Pulls it back to Conor Gallagher. Ball forward looking for the run of Raheem Sterling. Roy Kelly is across quickly. Sterling with the little back heel, won't quite reach Gusto, and Kirkes leads it off Gusto. It will be a throw to Bournemouth.
I know one thing for sure in this first half, that the person who's been on the ball the most and spent the longest on the ball time-wise is Thiago Silva, and I suppose that speaks volumes, and Iriola and Bournemouth will be very happy about that.
They have the throw deep inside their own territory. Dominic Solanke heads it on. Ouattara is there, but as he hooks it over his head, because Solanke has dropped deep, there's nobody in the Chelsea half, and it's all the way back with Robert Sanchez. Is that something that Bournemouth will perhaps look to tweak a little bit? It's always that fine balance, isn't it? Defensively, they've done well, but just making sure that Solanke isn't either so deep defending that he can't be the outlet, or isolated up front.
I think it's one of those ones, he's just trying to find that right balance, and ultimately when you look at the first, what have we had now, 38 minutes, 39th minute we're in now, they've had the best opportunity of the game, so really they will be happy, and I'm sure that this game come the second half will open up much more.
Here goes Zabani, goes down, wins the free kick. Chelsea weren't happy with that, because had it not been given by David Coote, Fernandes was there ready to slide in Nicholas Jackson. But it is a set piece to Bournemouth just outside their own penalty area. Let's head back to the tennis. Russell Fuller.
Experience counts for a lot in Davis Cup. From a set and a breakdown, Dan Evans has won 7 games in a row and is now 2-love up on 19-year-old Arthur Fils in the decider. Best of 3, Great Britain against France.
Thanks, Russell. Here at the Vitality Stadium, it's Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0 in the Premier League. Everton against Arsenal to come at 4:30. Lovely turn by Raheem Sterling on the halfway line. He's then cleaned out by Milos Kerkez.
Kerkez cannot handle Raheem Sterling. I've seen him getting tight, I've seen him tugging his shirt, I've seen him shoving him off the ball, but do you know what? He's terrified, the young man at the Bournemouth left back, because every time Raheem Sterling gets it, he glides past him.
Just a free kick, no yellow card. The ball is out to the right hand side for Chelsea. Gusto, Sterling edge of the box, trying to trick his way through, but Bournemouth stand up well again and clear away up towards the halfway line, where Ouattara will chase. Disasi just about does enough, and Gusto comes back and helps out and squares it to Thiago Silva. And again, Malo Gusto, I'm so impressed with his intelligence, the way that he reads the game, the danger that he spots, and the calmness with which he comes in, takes control of the situation and distributes the ball.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm super impressed with how he's settled the football club, and you mention his defensive responsibilities and how well he does those. Well, for me, him going forward, I think, has been a breath of fresh air.
Here come Bournemouth going forward. Oh, it's a heavy challenge by Mudryk on Aaron. Fair one though. Bournemouth still going. Good work by Christie. Right hand side. Dinks the ball across. Straight into the gloves of Robert Sanchez.
Yes, it is. And we mentioned it early. Mudryk from close range, and he fired it into Conor Gallagher around waist height. This time it's Christie. He's just got to play the ball along the floor. He tries to flick it with the outside of his left foot. Puts it 6 foot in the air. And it's right into the goalkeeper's gloves. How frustrating.
Game starting to open up as we enter the final 5 minutes plus added time at the end of this first half. It's still goalless. Here's Mudryk, little loose challenge. He's gone in on Aarons again. That time him has timed it. That time it's a yellow card. And I just think back to that challenge by Aarons on Mudryk about 10 minutes ago. He's not forgotten, has he, the Ukrainian? That's 2 in quick succession on Max Aarons. Second gives him a yellow.
He said the first one was heavy. I thought it was actually a really good challenge from an attacker. That one was definitely a foul. Whether it's a yellow card, I'm not sure, but there's a little battle starting here between Aarons and Mudryk, a little bit of frustration between the two of them, and I think the Ukrainians probably a bit hot under the collar.
4 minutes plus added time to play in this first half. Bournemouth send the ball out to the left hand side, still goalless on the south coast here on 5 Live. Here is Lloyd Kelly, plays it back to Zabani. And now Lewis Cook once more has the option of Billing in the centre. He looks fine, doesn't he, Billing, after picking up that rather bizarre injury when the ball hit his boot off Colwell's clearance.
I think his reaction was rather bizarre, because he rolled around like he'd been shot, and then all of a sudden he's absolutely fine.
Strange one for Bournemouth and Philip Billing as they come out to the left hand side. Here is Ouattara, can't find Kerkez with the return pass, and Sterling has it midway through the Chelsea half. Right hand side for Chelsea now. Disasi plays it forward. Enzo Fernandez, Nicholas Jackson. This is nice play from Chelsea. Good connections. Fernandez lifts it forward, looking for the run of Nicholas Jackson. It would just spin wide, but Jackson will get there before Ouattara. Down to the byline he goes. Right hand side. Ouattara trying to get the foot in. Does so. And does very well to shield that out. Well, Ouattara, I think, might have thought had taken a nick off Jackson, but it is a Chelsea throw. But good defending there by the attacker.
Yeah, it was, but when Enzo gets turned in the middle of midfield and he looks up, he's looking for runners. Mudryk makes a run inside rather than outside, and all the space is on the outside, and all of a sudden that just blocks it up for Nicholas Jackson, and it's those relationships that Chelsea seem to be lacking at the moment at the top end of the field.
Chelsea in possession over on the right hand side. It's pulled back to Ugachukwu. Now Conor Gallagher, captain for the day, with Ben Chilwell on the bench. Reece James, of course, still out injured, that lengthy injury list that Chelsea have. Malo Gusto does very well to win that back from Solanke. He was fouled as well, so that will be a free kick to Chelsea. Good position this, midway through the Bournemouth half, right hand side. They've taken it quickly, but referee David Coote isn't happy with that. Raheem Sterling was off and away. Bournemouth did have the black and red shirts back, but Chelsea will get another chance, and this time, they take it quick again. This time he is happy, David Coote. Same play, out to Sterling, right hand side. Bournemouth in position, ready and waiting inside the penalty area. Sterling up against Ouattara. Christie's there as well, so he goes back to Malo Gusto. In field now to Enzo Fernandez, out to the right hand side, and Sterling once more. Chelsea working hard, trying to get the ball into the Bournemouth penalty area. They do now with Gusto. It's a shocker. It's behind for a Bournemouth goal kick.
Yes, Chelsea with players committed forward. Gusto decides from long range to sling it in, is the best way I can describe it, with his left foot, and there's no real quality on it, especially when they had so many players to find passes and try and unlock this Bournemouth defence. That was a little bit, we've sung his praises this afternoon, but that wasn't great by Gusto.
So 60 seconds plus added time to play at the end of this first half. Bournemouth with the goal kick. Just go back to those forward connections for Chelsea that you mentioned, Glenn. I think one of the huge frustrations is that a combination that looked good in pre-season between Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku, one of the new arrivals this summer, can't be used at the moment because Nkunku is injured. One of those on that lengthy treatment table list, but again, it's so frustrating for Mauricio Pochettino to think, right, this is really building well in pre-season, and then suddenly you don't have the option of playing that in the first few games.
Yeah, it is. I was out there in the States and I did see that connection developing. There seemed to be a real understanding between the two of them, but this is the Premier League, and unfortunately there are bad injuries at top level sport, and unfortunately for Chelsea, it's one of their better players, or one of the more excitable players that they've brought into the football club, and I suppose that's why we've got 25-man squads, so you've got options, and Chelsea have still got plenty of quality in their 25.
Here goes Enzo Fernandez in possession for Chelsea. Goalless here on 5 Live. Ball forward to Mudryk. Plays it to the edge of the area. Oh, lovely layoff by Jackson. Won't quite run for Fernandez. Cleared away by Bournemouth. Roy Kelly, who went down and belatedly does win the free kick. 1 minute added time. Tell you what, that's pretty remarkable given the new IFAB guidelines, isn't it? There's been no stoppages whatsoever. Is that what our referees are telling us, or basically has nothing happened?
Well, I think that's the biggest surprise of the season. Is it 1 minute added time here at Bournemouth?
Who had that in the sweepstakes? Well, there we go. It is 1 minute added time, and we're into it now as Mauricio Pochettino stands with his arms folded on the edge of his technical area. And Neto prepares to take this free kick for Bournemouth just outside his own penalty area. Neto, who saved very well from Conor Gallagher in this first half. Nicholas Jackson hitting the post for Chelsea as well with a low dribbling shot. At the other end, Dongo Ouattara with Bournemouth's best chance. Excellent save by Robert Sanchez after a lovely Bournemouth move. And Bournemouth putting on the pressure again outside the Chelsea penalty area. Pays off this time. Disasi sends the ball straight out of play. And that, says referee David Coope for the first half. It's Bournemouth 0, it's Chelsea 0, it's Glenn Murray.
Yes, and when I look at the game, I suppose Iraola will be the happier. Chelsea have shown glimpses, Pochettino's men, but Iraola at 0-0, his side growing in confidence with the best opportunity of the first half. I think we'll be looking forward to the second half and trying to ask more questions of Chelsea.
Perfectly summed up, Glenn. And in truth, Steve, there's not really that much to sum up. At half time, the vitality, it's gone.
Yeah, a minute of added time, especially in 2023, sort of sums up the first half a little bit, doesn't it, Glenn?
Yes, it does. Do you know what? I actually enjoyed it, Steve. It was good football. It was both teams trying to play football the right way. Chelsea, I thought, made it look easy at times in the final third. Just that last killer pass wasn't quite there. But Bournemouth also have looked comfortable in certain pieces of possession. They've got willing runners off the side of Solanke, and it's just whether they can break this Chelsea defence down. And like I say, the best opportunity fell their way, and it was Robert Sanchez that made a massive save.
It's not been awful, but it can definitely get better. Let's settle on that. Glenn, Vicky, thank you very much for the time being. So Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0, half-time at the Vitality. Of course, we'll bring you second half commentary. Everton versus Arsenal in full at 4:30. We'll make our first trip of the day to Goodison Park very, very shortly. We'll also have the latest on the Rugby Union World Cup match going on right now. We'll be back for the Davis Cup as well in Manchester. Massive tie, Great Britain versus France. Winner takes all. You can watch it if you want right now on BBC iPlayer. And we'll hear more on the selection for the 50-over ODI World Cup as well. We'll speak to Henry Moran. Harry Brook is in. All of that to come before second half commentary at the Vitality after the news with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. Good afternoon. A charity that works to end violence against women has cut ties with Russell Brand after he was accused of rape, sexual assault and emotional abuse. The Trevi charity says it's deeply saddened and upset by the allegations, published as part of a joint investigation by the Sunday Times, The Times and Channel 4 Dispatches. 4 women have accused him of sexually assaulting them between 2006 and 2013. Russell Brand has denied any wrongdoing. Nimco Nico Ali is a former advisor to the government on violence against women and girls.
Almost 97% of rapists never go to prison or even get prosecuted. So I think we do need to have more of a social contract, like a different social contract, and have that conversation. And I don't want to sit here and demonise all men, but the whole point is, it's really interesting that most women know women who've been raped, but most men don't know anybody who's raped anybody.
Officials in Libya say around a quarter of the buildings in Derna were destroyed or damaged by severe flooding in the city a week ago. Thousands of people have been killed in the east of the country and many more have been left homeless. A 35-year-old woman has been charged with the murder of 2 elderly people in Chelmsford. Virginia McCulloch will appear in court tomorrow. Essex police say they were called out on Wednesday after concerns were raised about the welfare of 2 people. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni says the future of Europe is at stake following another influx of migrants from North Africa to Lampedusa by boat. The head of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has been on the island today and offered proposals on legal pathways for migration, plus greater efforts to tackle people smuggling. More than 8,000 migrants arrived on Lampedusa in the 3 days last week. And the newly appointed Energy Secretary, Claire Coutinho, says she won't put extra financial burdens on families in order to reach the UK's net zero emissions target. She's told the Sun newspaper that nothing can be achieved by forcing families to stop doing things such as going abroad on holiday.
Hear them do their thing in the Premier League. Then hear what they have to say on BBC Sounds. Subscribe to the Players channel and get inside the footballing minds of Premier League icons. From the Footballers Football podcast.
I'm getting stick for arguing with one of their players, and that's a player that they was booing themselves not too long ago. So
to Football First with Troy Deeney and Jermaine Defoe.
I just laughed. I went, don't worry, you'll play me next week.
And much more to come as we head into the new season. Real football talk straight from the players. The Players Channel. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
It is Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0 at the Vitality. Second half commentary on the way. But let's get some breaking news. A non-Red Bull has won a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Harry Benjamin.
And what a grandstand finish it was. 4 different drivers, 3 different teams in the fight for that win. In the end, Carlos Sainz for the Ferrari team played the strategic move and held on for that first non-Red Bull win, his second in his career. Lando Norris came home second, and in third place it was Lewis Hamilton, who was behind his teammate, but George Russell found the wall on the very last lap and went hurtling into it. We've heard him on the radio, he is okay, but that has put him out. But what a finish. Carlos Sainz, a race winner in Formula 1 in 2023. Didn't think we'd be saying that this year.
No more reason to listen to the Checkered Flag podcast than for the first time this season, a Red Bull not winning, and it ends Max Verstappen's personal record of 10 Grand Prix victories in a row. Let's talk tennis again now. Great Britain in that winner-takes-all clash with France in the Davis Cup. Russell Fuller.
Dan Evans working himself out of a hole. He found himself a set and a breakdown at 3-1 to 19-year-old Arthur Fils of France, who's making his debut. He is a very, very promising and extremely powerful player, won on the ATP Tour for the first time in Lyon in May, but experience counts for a lot in the Davis Cup, and as Fils started to miss, Evans made some fantastic returns. He won 7 games in a row. It means he's got the break in the deciding set as well. He leads by 3 games to 1. Cameron Norrie to follow against Hugo Humbert, and then the doubles, so it's a best-of-3 tie with the winners heading off to Malaga in late November for the knockout stage of the Davis Cup finals.
Feels like the tension is only going to increase in front of a sellout crowd in Manchester. You can watch that, remember, on BBC iPlayer. There's more coverage as well on the BBC Sport website. Harry Brook has been included in the England squad for the Cricket World Cup, which begins in India next month. Jason Roy misses out. He had been included ahead of Brook for the series against New Zealand, which England won 3-1. Let's speak to Test Match Specials Henry Moran. So he's made it. Harry Brook's in, Henry.
Yeah, he's in the squad, and I think it is one of those decisions that would have been a really difficult one for the selectors, because Jason Roy is a player that was such a crucial part of England's success in 2019. Of course, that iconic moment he threw the ball to Joss Buttler at the final stages of that Super Over against New Zealand. He was in the team of the tournament that year, but he has had problems with this back in the last few weeks, and that will be a factor when they look at the intensity of the tournament, how much travelling's involved, 8 internal flights in the group stage alone, then you're asking a lot physically for any player, let alone someone whose back has been causing problems. And squads are pretty small, 15 players with potentially 3 travelling reserves as well. I mean, for Jason Roy, that works against him because there just isn't that flexibility to take someone whose fitness is that much of a worry. And so the door opens for Harry Brook.
Do you think that those back problems made the decision that little bit easier?
I think so, and also Harry Brook's versatility. He's somebody that can bat anywhere between 1 and 6. I mean, ironically, despite how well he's played in the last year, in this format, he's actually not really done it. He had this big opportunity in the last series against New Zealand, but scored just 37 runs at an average of 12. But England know what he can do, know how good he can be. So the versatility, combined with Jason Roy's fitness concerns, I think when you add it all together, it does begin to make a little bit more sense.
David Millen in there, of course. He's been in absolutely sparkling form. David Willey makes the squad for the bowlers. He described himself as a dependable donkey.
Yes, David Willey's this fascinating character because he missed out in the 2019 World Cup, and it was such a public omission, if you like, because we knew that this spectre of Jofra Archer becoming available for England just ahead of that tournament was always coming, and then the decision was made. David Willey, who'd been such a key part of the side, out of the squad. Jofra Archer comes in, the rest is history. And he spoke about watching that World Cup final with his family and feeling really bittersweet about it and, feeling quite emotional watching England win because, of course, he wanted the side that he had been a part of to have success, but equally knew that it wasn't him out there getting that opportunity. And so he is someone who's dependable. He does bowl this hooping swing with his left arm at the top of the order and early in an innings, which is a really potent weapon for a side with the ball. So he gets this opportunity, and I think a lot of people will be very happy for him to be selected and part of the squad. And speaking of Jofra Archer, actually, we expect he could potentially be a travelling reserve for England to continue the rehabilitation from this elbow injury. I mean, it could yet see Jofra Archer playing at the World Cup.
Do you think every touring party needs a dependable donkey, and who is it for TMS?
Oh, that's a very good... It's got to be the stats, hasn't it? The dependable donkey is always the numbers. It's that one absolute fail-safe. You know that the numbers never lie. It's always got to be the scorer, I would say. The dependable donkey, it's a vital part of any...
I thought you were going to say it was you, but OK. Throw it on somebody else. Fair play. Fair play.
And a word on David Millan as well, because he's got into this squad, and that century scored at Lord's, outstanding. He averages 92 across that series. He's passed 50 on 10 occasions in this format. Absolute gun player for England. No surprise he's there.
Nice one. Thanks, Henry. That's Henry Moran. England next take on Ireland ahead of the World Cup. That's a 3-match series which starts on Wednesday. Test match special, of course. We'll have commentary from 12:15. 3 matches in the Rugby Union World Cup today. England-Japan, 8 o'clock, live on 5 Live. Join Sonia McLaughlin for full coverage and commentary of that. Before that, on 5 Sports Extra, 4:45, Australia against Fiji. Right now, we're at half-time in the match between South Africa and Romania. Claire Thomas.
It had been raining tries in Bordeaux, where South Africa lead those Pool B minnows, Romania 33 points to 0. But most of the rain recently has actually been of the meteorological kind. The Oaks stemmed the bleeding eventually and held world champions scoreless for the final 15 minutes of that first half. The opening passages were impressive from Jacques Nienaber's men. Scrum half Cobus Reinach, who has been a 5'9" nuisance all afternoon, has a hat-trick, and Makazole Mapimpi and Damien Valemsa have also crossed the increasingly soggy whitewash. Elsewhere in Pool B, Ireland were on the rampage against Tonga last night, and so their meeting with South Africa next weekend will be titanic. Up next, though, could well prove the game of the weekend, so mark your cards. It's Eddie Jones's Australia up against the Flying Fijians in what could decide a congested and intriguing Pool C.
We've had brilliant drama at the Grand Prix in Singapore this afternoon. Great drama by the looks of it on the way from the Davis Cup in Manchester. The PJ Championship at Wentworth. Play's been suspended, Ian Carter.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, the hooter sounded at 2:10 this afternoon because of thunder in the area. But as and when we get back out on the course, an intriguing finish is in prospect with Tyrrell Hatton at the top of the leaderboard at 17 under par. But just before the thunder rolled in, he drove out of bounds on the 15th. He's now left with a 6-footer to save par on that difficult par 4 and remain 1 ahead of Ryan Fox. 2 ahead of the Englishman Aaron Rai, who's birdied the 13th and the 14th. Callum Shinkwin is at 14 under par, as is John Rahm, as they embark on the closing quartet of holes. The clubhouse leader, he says he's not sticking around because he knows he's not won, is Rory McIlroy, round in 65, a little frustrated to have parred the last 2 holes, but nonetheless at 13 under, it's been an excellent weekend for him. The leader, Tyrrell Hatton, at 17 under.
Ian, thank you very much indeed. Second half commentary on the way very shortly at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0. Once we're done with that, we'll be off to Goodison Park. Everton versus Arsenal at 4:30. We're joined now by our correspondent John Murray. Good afternoon, John.
Yes, hello from Goodison Park. Last season of Goodison Park, of course, but it's all happening here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting atmosphere, isn't it?
Do you know, Steve, I'm not sure there is going to be a discernible difference to the atmosphere that there normally is. I might be proved wrong, but this is obviously as a result of the news at the end of the week that a sale of the club has been agreed, and I heard your discussion a little earlier. Clearly there are lots of questions to be asked about these American investors, 777 Partners. The deal said to be around about £500 million, but as I was reading on the BBC website this week, since Farhad Moshiri became the major shareholder back in 2016, he has invested something in the region of £750 million in Everton. We also know that the club's going to face this independent commission next month. This is over the claims that they've broken the Premier League financial rules. The club have said that whatever happens, the building of the new stadium will be unaffected, but clearly there will be expenditure involved there. So I think you can understand why maybe among the Everton supporters, as we heard earlier, there is a dose of scepticism in amongst everything else. And I thought, actually, I read Chris Bascom in the Daily Telegraph this week. I thought he summed it up very well when he said, majority shareholder Farhad Moshiri's sales pitch must have required a vivid imagination and a straight face.
Yeah, I mean, look, there has been a degree of toxicity. Yes, the news is positive or looks positive, but I take your point. I don't think anybody's going to be jumping for joy just yet.
No, and I think the one of the other red flags, as discussed, is all of the various other sporting interests of the 777 Partners, and it's quite a patchy record among the various clubs that they're involved in some degree or another. And I noticed as well this morning's Daily Telegraph said that the 777 Partners in investment in British basketball is being looked into. So it feels like clearly there's a process that has to be gone through, a lot of hoops to be jumped through before this actually goes through.
And speaking of patchy records, Arsenal's is not very good at Everton.
Well, it's not. No, they've lost here in the last 3 seasons that they've been here. Not one since 2017, I think it is, that Arsenal have been here. But as I was saying yesterday when I was watching Newcastle-Brentford, as ever with those sort of records, that is history. That is historical. And we're talking about an Arsenal team that won so well in its last match against Manchester United, unbeaten, and also knowing that if they want to be anywhere near where they were last season, challenging Manchester City, the teams above them have won this weekend. This is a match they have to win.
John, thank you very much indeed. Correspondent John Murray at Goodison Park. Full commentary on the way at 4:30 of Everton versus Arsenal. Former Everton boss David Unsworth has been sacked this afternoon by Oldham Athletic after a year at the National League club. They've only won 1 game in their first 9 this season, and they lost 3-0 at Bromley yesterday. And already today, Leeds United up to 10th in the Championship after winning 3-0 at Millwall. Joel Pirro scored 2 of the goals there. Right, the ball's on the centre spot at the Vitality Stadium. Second half commentary of Bournemouth versus Chelsea with Glenn Murray and Vicky Sparks.
Thank you very much, Steve. Yes, welcome back to the South Coast, where Chelsea have just got us underway. Goalless as we enter this second half, and it's a match in truth that has seen chances few and far between. But Glenn Murray, we have seen some decent football from both sides. Will either manager look to change things drastically in this second half? We've seen no changes at the break, incidentally.
No, I think the opening 20 minutes of this half will be very similar to the first half, and then I think we'll see changes, managers making their moves, trying to take the 3 points home, but quite relaxed here at the Vitality. People just making their way back to their seats, and it's a calm atmosphere, I think is the best way to describe it, Vicky.
Yes, Bournemouth still looking for their first Premier League win under their new manager Andoni Iraola. And they're in possession, playing from right to left in the black and red striped shirts, the black shorts and the black socks. But there has, over the opening few games, 2 draws, 2 defeats in the Premier League, been encouragement in terms of the style of play, that attacking style, that high press. Largely it's been defensive work that we've been able to praise so far. They've been well organised against this Chelsea side, but they have looked dangerous on occasion going forward as Lloyd Kelly steps away from Nicholas Jackson, the Chelsea striker. Kelly's ball forward is rather aimless, and Robert Sanchez comes out just to make sure that Dominic Solanke, the former Chelsea player, doesn't latch onto that and shepherds it out easily for a goal kick to Chelsea. So no changes at half-time. So Bournemouth with Neto in goal, the back 4 of Aarons, Zabani, Kelly and Kirkez. Ahead of them it's Billing and Cook, with Ouattara, Christie and Tavernier supporting Solanke up front. And again, Chelsea imitate as though they're going to play short from that goal kick. For once they don't. Instead they play it up to the halfway line where Raheem Sterling is fouled by Milos Kerkez. I was wondering whether Bournemouth would continue that high press around the Chelsea penalty area when they do play the goal kick short, because it has allowed Chelsea just to bypass that midfield on occasion. But that time Robert Sanchez tries something different and Chelsea play it out to the left hand side. Looks as though they've switched back to the back 4 that they started the first half with. We'll see how that formation develops, and we'll run you through the lineups in a moment for Chelsea. But Enzo Fernandez in possession, dispossessed by Max Aarons over on that far side, who clears long. Thiago Silva heads the ball forward. Conor Gallagher, captain on the day, with Ben Chilwell on the bench, and Reece James still out injured, clears the ball away. It's out for a Bournemouth throw. So Chelsea with Sanchez in goal, the back 4 as it is at the moment, with Gusto, Disasi, Silva and Colwill. Ahead of them it's Gallagher, Fernandez and Ugo Chukwu, making his full Premier League debut, the 19-year-old, with Sterling, Mudryk and Jackson up front as Thiago Silva heads the ball away. Colwill just about keeps it in over on that far side. Now Enzo Fernandez has gone down on the halfway line, clutching his face. It is a free kick. Will David Coote see any further action to be taken here? Coming together with Lewis Cook, he is flailing around with his hand, his eyes are on the ball. He does catch Fernandez, and David Coote, our referee, is happy just to leave it at that as Mudryk comes forward, all down right on the edge of the penalty area, and David Coote says free kick right on the edge of the box. Bournemouth are aghast. VAR will check this just to see exactly where the contact happened, whether it was outside the box, whether it was on the line. Let's see.
I think that Mudryk is coming in and he's making ground. He looks like he's just about to have a shot. Max Aarons thinks he's got to make the challenge, and for me that is just outside the area, and the referee's made the right call.
So free kick to Chelsea. Aarons taking his place in the defensive wall. It was just the set piece. We've not seen a card yet from David Coote as he steps the requisite 10 yards and uses the spray, and
that looks like a big 10 yards, Vicky, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's big steps, wasn't it? Bournemouth put the draft excluded down behind the wall in the form of Lewis Cook and Raheem Sterling. 2 goals in 4 Premier League appearances this season for Chelsea stands over this. That was the brace against Luton. Can he find a way to break the deadlock here? It's a free kick just outside the penalty area, smack bang in the middle between that left hand corner of the box and the left hand curve of the D. We also have Conor Gallagher standing just in front of the wall. Mudryk is there as well. Sterling will go for goal. He curls it. Oh, it's off the bar. Did it bounce in? It's followed up on the far side by Colwill, but the flag is up and the goal will not stand. Chelsea have a player down inside the area as well. A lot for David Coote to sort out here. Well, Colwill stuck the ball in the back of the net. The offside flag was up quickly. We haven't seen any buzz from the referee's watch, so we assume that the ball from Sterling didn't cannon over the line as it ricocheted off the bar. Well, from the replay you can hear the ooze in the press box, because I tell you what, from the naked eye it looks as though that might be over, but we have to trust goal line technology here. VAR will double check. Let's deal with Colwill first. He does look offside, Glenn Murray.
Yes, he does, but that free kick from Sterling was absolutely incredible. How it's not gone in, I don't know. It's hit the corner of the post and the bar, and it's come back out behind the goalkeeper. Somehow it's span on the line, span back out, and in all fairness, when it does arrive at Levi Colwill, he finishes it like a seasoned striker, absolutely blasts it back into the net. But the correct decision has been made, and he had just strayed offside and the ball hadn't crossed the line.
Yeah, it was very close, but as Glenn Murray says, with the aid of a couple of replays, not the whole ball was over the line, and it's still 0-0, but Chelsea coming so close, hitting the woodwork for the second time in this match as Bournemouth have it just outside the Chelsea penalty area. Here is Philip Billing to Ouattara, his ball forward won't find Kirkes, out for a Chelsea goal kick.
Well, I think it's safe to say, Vicky, it's already more exciting than the first half, isn't it?
I think you could be right. Glenn Murray here with us on 5 Live, the former Bournemouth and Brighton striker, as Robert Sanchez prepares to take this goal kick for Chelsea. This time they do play it short. Again, Bournemouth put on the press. Chelsea play around it well. Ugachukwu out to the left-hand side. Slides the ball forward to Nicholas Jackson. Lovely layoff. Chelsea moving freely here as they advance towards the area. Colwill getting in an advanced position. Tries to find Fernandez. Won't latch onto it on the edge of the penalty area, and now Bournemouth can counter with Colwill out of position. Ugachukwu is getting back there to try and fill in and defend as Colwill gets back to. Bournemouth still coming with Christie. Plays it forward over on that right hand side. Opportunity to drive here from Tavernier, and he drives. That time it was over the bar.
Yes, that was over the bar. He's cutting on in that left foot, and he scored a similar one earlier on this season, looking for that far corner. It just doesn't quite get the curve and bend, and that does go well over the bar and doesn't worry Robert Sanchez at all. At the other end, however, Levi Colwill was bursting towards the Bournemouth 18-yard box, and if it was anyone else, he probably would have made a better decision. He cut it back.
Here come Chelsea into the penalty area. Nicholas Jackson drives on the angle, difficult chance over the angle of post and bar.
I was going to say Levi Colwill cut it back. It was the wrong decision, and that's what ultimately launched Bournemouth's attack. But Chelsea right up the other end again. Nicholas Jackson gets played in, and he hits a shot from a tight angle with his left foot, and it wasn't pretty.
Well, he has scored once for Chelsea since arriving in the summer from Villarreal. Nicholas Jackson, 13 goals in 38 games for the Spanish side last season, including a brilliant end to the campaign. 9 goals he scored in the last 8 league games. Could have been playing for the Cherries this afternoon. Bournemouth had agreed a deal for him back in January, but they called it off after his medical reports that a hamstring injury was going to keep him out for longer than they thought, as that ball forward won't quite reach Dominic Solanke. I know Bill Foley, their owner, has been speaking the last couple of weeks and intimated that maybe they should have just signed him anyway. But they were really looking for somebody who could help them in the short term as well as the long term, staying up in the Premier League last season. In the end, they managed to do it, but
comfortably. I think that they managed to stay up comfortably, and do you know what, that story, I think there's plenty of those stories throughout the Premier League. Listen, we're watching the best league in the world here, and I think all the football clubs are looking at very similar players of similar types, and anyone who's progressing in any European league by any sort of I suppose outstanding qualities, all Premier League teams have got an eye on them, and it's just whether you press the button, and unfortunately for Bournemouth, they didn't decide to.
Chelsea in possession over on the far side, yes, and you'd think that strong finish to the season again just added a few more million to the price tag for Nicholas Jackson, and perhaps widen the range of clubs that he might have been able to consider. The ball is all the way through to Robert Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. Goalless here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Everton against Arsenal coming up at 4:30, and the Champions League is back next week. 5 Live is your place to be. We kick it all off with commentary of AC Milan against Newcastle. Coverage builds up from 5:30 on Tuesday, the early kick-off, followed by Manchester City against Red Star Belgrade, and on Wednesday we have Bayern Munich against Manchester United for you. Do join us for the Champions League action next week. Here is Conor Gallagher for Chelsea, turns in the centre circle, out to the right hand side. Malo Gusto will pick it up against Kirkes, the 19-year-old Bournemouth left back, and Chelsea work it nicely to Sterling inside the area. The second touch just took it away from him, cleared away by Zabani, will be picked up by Ugachukwu on the edge of the centre circle as Chelsea just settle into that rhythm of enjoying the possession. Can they fashion the chances? Here is Gusto, right hand side, up against Kirkes, who can't stop him. Gusto's low delivery cleared away by Lloyd Kelly and will bounce out of play. In fact, it won't. Antonio Raiola knew that, and he gestured Dominic Solanke forwards. Robert Sanchez eventually prevents the corner, just about. Yes, he does. Throw to Bournemouth, deep inside Chelsea territory. Almost cleared the stand there here at the Vitality, Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, he did almost. It's not too hard to do, is it, Vicky? They're not the biggest ground in the Premier League, but that ball there, Chelsea put a ball into the box there. It arrived to the front post, and that for me, that they had numbers in the box. Sterling was in the box, Mudryk had hit the back post. That for me is where your striker needs to get across that front post, gamble, and unfortunately Nicholas Jackson didn't do it.
Kirkes as well to send that ball across from the byline for Bournemouth. Chelsea get first contact and second. Cook will chest it down 25 yards out, plays it out to the right hand side, and Max Aarons finds Tavernier. Back in field now to Lewis Cook, who plays the ball into the area, brought down by Gallagher. Oh, there was a high boot in there. Cook with the follow-up straight at Sanchez and Solanke, who was the player who went down in the vicinity of that high boot from Gallagher, shall we say. Turns and spreads his arms and looks at David Coote and says, was there anything in that? And David Coote just turns away and says, my decision is clear.
Yeah, I think that was the correct decision. Areola thought differently. He was up off the bench, both arms above his head, but the referee wasn't being swayed.
Here come Bournemouth again. Chelsea sloppy in possession. Aarons down to the byline, pulls the ball across, but there's no black and red shirt there. There's no Gusto tussling with Christie. Both players down. Referee allows play to continue. Kirkes drives the ball across, won't fall for Solanke in the area, and Thiago Silva making a bit of a hash of clearing it. Christie's appealing for it. It's gone out for a Chelsea goal kick, but they're living on the edge there. Chelsea 6s and 7s at the back, and Malo Gusto is still down, and now the referee David Coote comes out to check on the Chelsea defender. 0-0.
Yeah, and just through that little bit of play you can hear that the Bournemouth fans are starting to believe. They're singing. The noise decibels have gone up in the Vitality, and all of a sudden they're asking questions of Chelsea, who look very sloppy at the back. And Gusto, who there was a coming together between him and I think it might have been Kirkes, doesn't seem to have come off too well for me. It was a very dubious decision that the referee allowed to play to continue, but the Chelsea man's down, and this will be a huge blow with Reece James already out if they lose another right back.
Yeah, we're just seeing a replay of the coming together again, and he goes down, he's caught by the knee of Christie, right on the back of that joint, on the back of his knee. It's a painful one. The fall isn't the most comfortable either, but you hope it's one of those that's more of a jarring injury that he can run off rather than something that's going to be more lingering.
Well, Chelsea certainly will, and to be fair to him, he's up, he's sat up now, he's having a little drink. I think, in all fairness, in the show before the game we were mentioning game management, and this, what we're watching right here, is that. His team are under the cosh a little bit. Bournemouth in the ascendancy, and Gusto, even though it was a heavy collision, has just bought a little bit of time for his team to try and compose themselves.
So he is up to his feet. Gusto is walking gingerly with the Chelsea medical staff towards the touchline. So we look at the options that both sides have. You have Cole Palmer arriving in the summer from Manchester City for Chelsea, of course Ben Chilwell, and after that you really are looking at the youngsters. They've got 3 players on the bench, 3 teenagers, Chelsea, that haven't made their debut, Gilchrist, Matos and Stutter. And even the players that are on the bench that are in and around the first team squad, the likes of Maatsen and David Washington, these are young players for Chelsea. Youth is a hallmark of this squad. The average age when they're all fit is just over 22 for the first team squads, but so many players out injured, they don't have much seniority to call on, as they have the header towards the penalty area, cleared away by Lewis Cook for Bournemouth, and Watara gets his head to it, flicks it forward looking for Solanke, but Silva will get there, and Disasi will pick it up. Lovely ball slid through to Gallagher, lovely turn as well from Gallagher. Sterling's made the run, Gallagher finds him, Sterling inside the area trying to check back, can't do so, pulls it back to Gusto, it's forced out of the penalty area. Gusto will lay it off now as they come forward once more. Chelsea, Sterling, Ogachuk was there in support. Sterling instead opts for Gusto. 25 yards out, slides it into Mudryk, cleared away at the back by Kirkes, and Dominic Solanke will chase this, but Disasi is there and steers it back to Robert Sanchez. Let's get an update from the Rugby World Cup. Claire Thomas.
South Africa have their 7th in Bordeaux with 25 minutes remaining in this Pool B clash. Encouragingly for the Springboks, who lost their star hooker Malcolm Marks to a knee injury earlier in the week, it was replacement hooker Dion Fourier with the first and their second through a scrum, earning them a penalty try. A boost on the scoreboard and to their title defence. So South Africa 45, Romania 0.
Thanks very much, Claire. Free kick to Bournemouth, just outside the centre circle. Reminder, do join us for the commentary from the World Cup of England against Japan this evening on 5 Live from 8 o'clock. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the little screen in front of me, and it looks like both managers are going to make changes. Bournemouth, Kluivert's getting ready, and also there'll be an introduction for Cole Palmer from Chelsea.
As Bournemouth win another set piece. Yellow cards as well. In fact, it's gone the way of Chelsea. The yellow card has gone to Milos Kerkez. So he is the first Bournemouth player into the book, the coming together with Raheem Sterling.
And right there, that yellow card is going to be a big problem from the young man, because Sterling has got the better of him all afternoon. I'm not surprised. I actually think that a yellow card should have been given a little bit earlier. So Kerkez will be walking a tightrope.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gusto as well has caused problems for him. If it's not been Sterling, it's been Gusto. Wonder whether Iraola might have to look at changing that, bringing off the 19-year-olds. Chelsea with this free kick midway through the Bournemouth half. Mudryk is over it. Enzo Fernandez just walking away. So the bright pink boots of Mudryk look like the option here. The run is being made at the far post. Mudryk swings it in. It's headed away by Lloyd Kelly for Bournemouth. Conor Gallagher will help keep it alive for Chelsea. Here is Mudryk once more. Out to Sterling on this right-hand side. Raheem Sterling goalless here at the Vitality. 17 minutes gone in the second half. Great challenge by Christie. And he got the nick off Sterling as well. It's gone out for a Bournemouth throw. Back to the Davis Cup. Russell Fuller.
Dan Evans is celebrating. He's come from a set and a breakdown to win the decider 6-4 against Arthur Fils of France. Huge celebrations on the court now. It means that if Cameron Norrie beats Hugo Humbert in the second singles, Britain will qualify for the knockout stage of the Davis Cup finals.
Thanks very much, Russell. We'll keep you right up to date with that as Chelsea make their change. Mudryk is off and Cole Palmer, who arrived on transfer deadline day from Manchester City, is on for his second appearance for Chelsea. And the change for Bournemouth, Ouattara, just back from injury, is replaced by Justin Kluivert, the son of the Dutch legend Patrick.
Yes, he is indeed. Man that I grew up watching for Newcastle many moons ago, and now his son's gracing the Premier League and trying to make that Kluivert name even stronger.
So Chelsea in possession. Thiago Silva picks it up from Disasi. Cole Palmer has another chance to show what he can do after a very impressive international break with England's under-21s. As we say, he made his debut in the last match against Nottingham Forest. He'd only signed the day before, which again just shows how limited Chelsea are in terms of numbers. Pretty unusual to sign and get yourself registered in time to make your debut the next day, as Bournemouth take a set piece quickly, intelligently from Christie. Solanke, left hand side of the penalty area, driving at the Chelsea defence, tried to play it into Kerkez, who'd made the run, and Robert Sanchez is there and gathers in his own 6-yard box. Why didn't Solanke pull the trigger there? It's a great driving run. He's got the Chelsea defence on the back foot.
Yes, and he's also a man in form, and that is when you are likely to pull the trigger. He just didn't feel as though that gap arrived. Looked to play in one of his teammates, and sometimes that can be a weakness.
And Chelsea looking for the gaps at the other end. Here is Cole Palmer just off the bench, tried to pick his spot. It's blocked behind by Lloyd Kelly. It's a Chelsea corner.
Yes, it's becoming end-to-end football now, this. The first half, nothing too much happened. There was no real talking points, and all of a sudden both teams make changes, and it's end-to-end and exciting.
So corner to Chelsea, which they will take from this near side. Enzo Fernandez, the World Cup winner, is over it. Palmer's there as the short option, but there are plenty of pale green shirts inside the area. Philip Billing, though, is the one who gets to it for Bournemouth. Conor Gallagher trying to keep it alive, comes out to Sterling, just inside the box, plays it out to the left-hand side. Chelsea trying to squeeze it in. Colwell, oh, brilliant save by Neto. It's pinball in the area, and eventually Kerkez gets it away. Well, Colwell there from about 2 yards, trying to get the purchase on it, managed to steer it towards goal, and Neto claws it away to keep it at 0-0.
Yes, he did. And I think there seems to be a VAR check. I'm not sure what it is. It's good play by Chelsea. They keep the ball live. Sterling clears Jackson in down this left-hand side. Jackson passes it across, and it's, like you say, it's Levi Colwill that just stabs the foot at it, and Neto manages to claw it off the line. But play is resumed, and that VAR check is cleared.
Yeah, very quick. I think they were just having a look to make sure that there was no handball in there, but We play on 0-0 between Bournemouth and Chelsea here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Commentary of Everton against Arsenal coming up in the Premier League at 4:30 with John Murray and Paul Robinson as the ball goes out of play. Won't be kept in by Cole Palmer. And it will be a throw to Bournemouth. Milos Kerkez will take midway through their own half. Glenn Murray.
I suppose one thing I am surprised at, so to speak, with Pochettino, he's brought Cole Palmer on and a triangle that was working really well with Gusto, Sterling and Gallagher on this right hand side. Now Sterling's switched sides. Kerkez on a yellow card. I would have wanted to get the ball, ask more questions of Kerkez. He can't dangle a leg anymore unless he'll be off the field. You have the advantage of 11 men v10, but he's put Cole Palmer on this right hand side, changed Sterling to the left. Not that Cole Palmer's any easier of a test for Kerkez.
No, good point though, Glenn, as Bournemouth win a throw midway inside their own half. Because, as you say, Sterling was giving him such a torrid time. But we shall see if Cole Palmer can do the same to Milos Kerkez, the Bournemouth left back. Bournemouth have it with Neto just on the edge of his own 6-yard box. Chelsea's turn to put on the press, and Bournemouth's turn to try and play around it. Lewis Cook under pressure from Nicholas Jackson, does well, Cook. Bournemouth just about keep possession. Christie sends it forward. Oh, it's a brilliant ball, and Cliver could be in here. Very well read by Robert Sanchez. The Chelsea goalkeeper comes out of his penalty area and clears away. Bournemouth take the throw quickly. Lovely control by Solanke, challenged by Palmer, who wins the ball from the former Chelsea man. And Chelsea come forward once more with Enzo Fernandez. Stabs it out to Sterling with the left-hand side of his boot. And now they're bursting down the left-hand side. Colwell getting forward much more than he did in the first half for Chelsea. Wins the throw deep in Bournemouth territory. It's goalless on 5 Live.
Yes, it is, but Chelsea's goalkeeper Robert Sanchez had to be alert there. It was a brilliant ball through, and it was Cliver who's running onto it. Sanchez comes out 25 yards from goal and clears the lines.
Chelsea in possession on the left-hand side. Here is Uga Chukwu. Plays it in field to Conor Gallagher. Now Sterling picks it up on the left-hand side and wins the corner. They've had plenty of these, Chelsea. Can they make one count?
Yes, they have, but Bournemouth have the aerial ability and the physicality. I think they've got that over Chelsea. I just wonder if Chelsea are going to play a short one. Yes, they have.
Yeah, they have. They've done that a few times this afternoon. It's come out to Gusto, best part of 30 yards out. And he curls that wide and into the stand.
Yes, and Bournemouth will be absolutely delighted they played the short one and ended up shooting from 30 yards because they are doing their job.
Maurizio Pochettino cutting an increasingly frustrated figure on the touchline. He's talked in the build-up to this game about how he wants Chelsea to be more decisive in each box, more aggressive when it comes to both penalty areas. Have we seen that from his side today?
I think we've seen a little bit more energy from them, but that's due to a team coming out and playing as well.
Here goes Gallagher, feeds it to Jackson inside the area, tried to squeeze it back to Gallagher, and it bounces off Zabani. There's a half-hearted appeal from Gallagher that was a back pass, but he wasn't in control of that, Zabani. And it's all the way through to Neto, who bowls the ball out over arm. Philip Billing picks it up on the halfway line, plays it forward to Cliver, tugging this left-hand touchline. Back to Billing once more. Pochettino claps his hands together inside his technical area. Ryan Christie has it. Nice turn for Bournemouth. Squares it to Lewis Cook, and now down the right goes Max Aarons. Plays a low ball forward, looking for the run of Solanke. Cleared away by Thiago Silva. Gets a touch off Solanke as well, and it will be a Chelsea throw, 0-0.
And almost there, Dominic Solanke's running down Thiago Silva, and Thiago Silva, I'm not sure if he's quite aware that he's going to nip on his inside. He goes to play the ball, and it's one of those ones that you can easily give a penalty away, but luckily for Silva, he plays the ball off Solanke and gets a throw in.
So Chelsea throw deep in their own territory. Everton against Arsenal to come at 4:30 here on 5 Live, and do check out the Football Daily as well on BBC Sounds. All the reaction throughout the season to not only the Premier League but all the goings on in the world of football. Here is Cole Palmer under pressure from Kerkez, does well. Squares it to Thiago Silva, plays it forward to Enzo Fernandez, headed down by Uga Chukwu. Fernandez back to Uga Chukwu, very tight and congested, but Chelsea play around those red and black shirts of Bournemouth well. Here goes Nicholas Jackson towards the penalty area. Conor Gallagher picks it up as Jackson goes down, edge of the D to Palmer, right hand side, feeds it to Gusto. Gallagher's inside the penalty area. Kerkez stands up well, blocks that ball in from Gusto, who has it once more for Chelsea. Dink forward to Gallagher, now hugging the right hand touchline, trying to play it through the legs of Lloyd Kelly, who was wide to the danger, and feeds Tavernier midway through the Bournemouth half.
And I think it is those moments for Chelsea and Chelsea fans that they are finding frustrating, especially the manager as well, as we see on the touchline, him up and about and showing that frustration. It's when they're approaching the 18-yard box, it's that final decision, and at the moment the decisions are the wrong ones. They're picking the wrong pass all the time.
Bournemouth have just picked a great pass from Kelly through to Tavernier. Solanke is ahead of him. Kelly lays it off to Kluivert instead, left-hand side. Kluivert challenged in by Gusto, foul by Gusto, says referee David Coombs, and it will be a free kick to Bournemouth, left-hand side of the penalty area, just about. Well, it looked as though Kluivert went down just about level with the penalty spot, but referee David Cook has drawn that white line just about level with the corner of the edge of the penalty area. So a little bit further out for Bournemouth, but still a great position to whip one in.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those positions just on the edge of the corner of the 18-yard box, I should say, where a right, because it's on the left side, a right footer can whip this into the box for somebody to get a nick on, but also towards the back post, where if it doesn't get a touch, it's going to hit that side netting. It's a perfect angle here for Lewis Cook to whip this in with pace and power and ask questions.
We'll be heading to Goodison shortly for the team news ahead of Everton against Arsenal, but Bournemouth looking to break the deadlock. Free kick on this left-hand side of the penalty area. Cook is there, Tavernier is as well. Which one will it be? The black and red shirts are in the centre. It's driven in low by Cook. It's cleared away out of the penalty area. Kirkes won't get on it at the second attempt, and Chelsea again clear it up towards halfway. Aaron's under a little bit of pressure from Jackson, will send it out to the right-hand side. Here is Kluivert, has two pale green shirts of Chelsea with him. Once more Bournemouth try and work it down the right-hand side. Good ball into Solanke, lovely turn. Lays it off as Bournemouth advance. Looking to get the shot away inside the penalty area. Kluivert though forced down to the byline. Oh, Solanke went for the acrobatic, and Tavernier on the follow-up can't make contact, and it's cleared away. Let's get that team news then from Goodison. John Murray.
Well, there's a first start of the season for the fully fit again Dwight McNeil for Everton. The first Premier League appearance of the season for Mikalenko, with Garner and Patterson on the bench. So that looks like Young switching to right back. So two changes for Everton, which means Tarkowski and Branthwaite are both fit to play. Calvert-Lewin's back as a substitute. But the big news is from Arsenal, because the goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale is left out. He's only a substitute, having played for England on Tuesday, and David Raya, on loan from Brentford, makes his Arsenal debut. Big talking point. The one other Arsenal change, Vieira starts for the first time this season, taking the place of Havertz in midfield.
Thanks very much, John. Yes, fascinating team news coming in from Goodison Park, particularly from the Arsenal perspective. Join John and Paul Robinson for full commentary from 4:30. Chelsea in possession here. Cole Palmer coming forward. Bournemouth have made two changes. Luis Sinisterra is on for his debut. Senesi is on as well, as Sterling drives from the edge of the area, and it's wide of the goal. So yes, Senesi on for Kirkes, and Glenn, we did say that Kirkes on the yellow card, whether Iraola would look at that, and he has done. So Senesi is on, and Luis Sinisterra joined on transfer deadline day on loan from Leeds. Jadon Anthony going the other way is on for Marcus Tavernier.
There's a lot of S's just joined the field of play, isn't there?
One of them is on the ball right now. Senesi clears away, put under a bit of pressure. That pass from his goalkeeper Neto, but does well. And here is Sinisterra. Goes down, wins the free kick. Well, he was so impressive last season for Leeds, but when he was fit, and that's possibly the key question for Luis Sinisterra and Bournemouth, how fit can he stay this season? But he was the second highest scorer for Leeds last season, 7 goals in 22 appearances. He's down by the byline, the hooked cross into the arms of Robert Sanchez, and it had gone out anyway, so it will be a Chelsea goal kick, 0-0.
Yes, immediate impact. He's looking to try and get behind that Chelsea backline. That one he just couldn't quite catch, but you're right, need to keep him fit. He could be a huge advocate in their survival for the Premier League, because I still think that is what Bournemouth want, and that's their first port of call, Premier League survival, and then try and grow off the back of that.
Chelsea again play the goal kick short and again work their way around the Bournemouth press, but Sterling has been robbed by Aarons just inside the Chelsea half, and Bournemouth will come forward again. Lloyd Kelly incidentally has gone out to left back, so Nessie the centre half slotting in there. So a little reshuffle defensively as Bournemouth come forward once more. Kluivert, who went down right on the edge of the penalty area. It's a free kick that's been given right on the edge of the box again. VAR will double check whether this was inside the area And a yellow card has been brandished as well to Disasi for that challenge. He's made an impact since coming on, Kluivert.
He certainly has, and that was a lot closer than the Chelsea one earlier on. And yet again, the referee has made the right call. It's only inches outside the penalty area, but it is outside the penalty area. Kluivert was bearing down on goal. Disasi thought he needed to make the challenge, and he did. And if anything, this free kick here is too close to the goal because they can't get it up and over. They need to try something clever. I'm sure the draft excluder will be there to stop anything low and hard along the ground. Yes, it's Cole Palmer who reaches the floor, but in a half that promised so much, it's delivered so little. But a couple of substitutes ready to enter the field of play to try and change that from a Chelsea point of view. That's Maatsen and Chilwell going to come on after this free kick.
This free kick which Bournemouth are standing over. Can they break the deadlock here? Kluivert is one of them, Billing is the other. Set piece right on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, central position. Referee David Coote is just making sure that Chelsea wall is the requisite distance away, and that Bournemouth players who are standing near it are also the requisite yard away from their opponents. So Billing or Kluivert, which will it be? Both have had plenty of time to think about this. Well, we've seen Billing score some brilliant goals from set pieces, but as Glenn Murray says, it would have to be pretty special to get up and over the wall from here. Although it's not the tallest Chelsea wall, they don't necessarily have the height of Bournemouth, although Disasi is in there as well, and he's still not happy with it, David Coote. He's not happy with the Bournemouth players' proximity to the wall, and Chelsea are indicating by putting their arms around.
Yeah, it's Nicholas Jackson that's putting his arm right round Lloyd Kelly, and every time the referee, because Jackson's behind Kelly, it's as though the referee can't see. He's like a child when you can't see them, that they're getting up to no good. But you see his arm come round his tummy every time, and Lloyd Kelly's just hitting him off, and the referee can clearly see it, and he's just stepped in.
I think Jackson will be saying he's not far enough away, but still the fans behind the goal aren't happy. David Coote is now. Will it be Kluivert? Will it be Billing? It will be Billing. He drives it low, it takes a deflection, it's behind for a corner.
Yes, he's tried to reverse it with that left foot. He's come up, he's hit it low and hard, reversing it back across Robert Sanchez, and I think it's Disasi just nicks off his ankle and out for a corner. It wasn't actually, it was Conor Gallagher who just jumps in the way of it. Brilliant deflection from the Chelsea man.
So Bournemouth pushing to break the deadlock. We're into the final 12 minutes plus added time. Chilwell and Maatsen still waiting to come on for Chelsea. It's goalless here on 5 Live as Neto advances to the halfway line. He's not coming up for the corner, it's not quite that yet. Bournemouth swing the corner in. Great take by Robert Sanchez, really commanded his 6-yard box so well there, plucks the ball out of the air. Bournemouth stopped the quick delivery, but he does release it now, Sanchez, and Chelsea have played it forward. Nicholas Jackson clearly pulled back there, no flag from the assistant on this near side. Jackson still has it for Chelsea, then he goes down very softly against Zanetti. Now he's talking about the pullback. Pochettino's complaining to the 4th official, and Bournemouth are away on the counter. Here is Solanke approaching the Chelsea penalty area. Squares it to Billing, left-hand side of the box. Solanke wants it back, gets it back inside the area. Lovely footwork. Oh, brilliant save by Sanchez. Sticks out a big right boot. He was going left, Sanchez. He had to readjust. He makes the save from Solanke. Bournemouth still come. Here is Kluivert, deflects off Silva. Enzo Fernandez heads out of the penalty area. All of a sudden, Bournemouth have sprung to life. Lewis Cook plays it to the edge of the box. Kluivert looking to work room for the shot, fires it in the end into a Chelsea defender, and Bournemouth pick it up on the right hand side once more. Here is Kluivert, dinks the ball across, Solanke's there, the header is wide, it's a big chance for Bournemouth. It's still 0-0.
And this is why they've sat in and blocked Chelsea for these moments where they're in the ascendancy and they're asking questions, looking to take the 3 points out of this game. And it's Solanke who the ball arrives to, and he hangs in the air, he just can't feel it back across. But let me tell you, if Chelsea get anything out of this game, they have one man to thank, and that is their goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. He has made a couple of unbelievable stops in the goal this afternoon to keep it at 0-0.
So here comes this double change for Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez is off, Ian Maatsen, the 21-year-old, is on, and Ben Chilwell has come on for Levi Colwill. Let's head to the goal for Ian Carter.
Play back underway, an hour and a half lost to the weather. Tyrrell Hatton resuming with a bogey 5 at the 15th, so joint leaders now. Vicky Hatton has been joined by Ryan Fox at 16 under par, leading Aaron Rai by 1 shot.
And boos because Enzo Fernandez is taking his time to come off for Martin, so we can head to the Rugby World Cup. Claire Thomas.
82 points Ireland put on Romania last weekend, and the Springboks are stalking that score down in Bordeaux, with the Oaks yet to de-bagel themselves. They trail 71 points to nil. The semi-professional Romanian outfit are really tired in this final quarter, and the world champions haven't needed asking twice. They've bagged a quartet in the last 10 minutes and are cantering down the home straight.
Thanks very much, Claire. Commentary of England against Japan coming up on 5 Live from 8 o'clock. Everton against Arsenal follows us at 4:30. Mauricio Pochettino, Glenn, getting a bit frustrated in the technical area.
Well, his sidekick certainly was. He just got a yellow card from the referee from just eyes, and I'm not sure exactly what it was about, but David Coote felt the need to go over and caution the... I'm not sure who it was on the bench, but one of Pochettino's backroom staff. But Chelsea have now got a corner and are trying to find a foothold in this game at the moment.
Tony Jimenez it was who went into the book. Good spot, Glenn. As Chelsea had this corner over on the far side, swung deep. Jackson was going down again, felt his shirt was being pulled. Didn't really appeal, but it looked as though he might have been tugged there. As Conor Gallagher picks up the ball once more for Chelsea. Chilwell, who's just come on, plays it forward off Aarons. It will be a Chelsea throw. This is still anyone's game here, Glenn.
Yes, it is anyone's game, and both teams are looking to try and take 3 points away. We mentioned Jackson getting pulled before, and just in the box there as well. He's got a huge rip in his shirt.
Chilwell's ball into the area. Jackson was there. Chests it down, and it's saved by Neto. Well, again, Jackson in the right place at the right time, but again, unfortunately for the Chelsea striker, unable to make the decisive contact. Does that count as a big chance, Glenn, do we think? Could be a big chance at the other end for Bournemouth, but Clivert can't reach that, and Sanchez will be there.
No, do you know what? Ben Chilwell has made an instant impact, getting down that left-hand side and whipping the ball in, and it probably gives Chelsea a better balance. They can't go to a 3, but as a 4, he's a natural left-back, and he gets down the left there, whips that ball into Jackson, and it more hits the Chelsea striker on the forehead rather than he engages the contact. Somebody just ducked out of the way, and it was a reflex chance. It's not a big chance.
Officially, you heard it here first, statisticians, from Glenn Murray. Still the 1 in 7 will give him that he's converted in the Premier League this season, but he is getting into the right positions. We have to mention as well, as the ball goes out of play for a throw to Chelsea deep in their own territory. His off-the-ball work has been praised by Pochettino. He's made, coming into this weekend of games, certainly made more off-the-ball runs than any other player in the Premier League this season. More off-the-ball runs into the penalty area as well. Willingness is not in dispute, and actually the intelligence to get in the right positions. It's just that decision-making at the key times as Chelsea have a free kick just inside their own half.
And yeah, you sing the praises of Jackson there, and the end product will come. He's done it before, he's done it over in La Liga, so it is in there. Just a little bit of confidence, momentum, just needs a little bit of time to settle into the Premier League.
So 7 minutes plus added time to play. Thiago Silva under pressure plays it back to Robert Sanchez, who, as Glenn Murray says, has made some very key saves for Chelsea in this game. Chelsea, who have hit the woodwork twice themselves. Overall, you would have to say that Andoni Iraola will be pretty pleased with how his Bournemouth sides have played. Still work to do for this young Chelsea side under Pochettino, but they're coming forward now. Cole Palmer tries to slide it through to Sterling, does get down to the byline, back to Palmer. Brilliant save, Neto, best save of the match. Follow up is blocked. They're appealing for a handball. Matson was up there for Chelsea. David Coote allows play to go on. Matson tries to steer it back in again. Bournemouth get the ball out of the penalty area. Justin Christie now had his heels nibbled at, but he's away on the counter and feeds Clivert. Is this the moment for Bournemouth late on against Chelsea? Clivert, Solanke, he can't control. Miscue on the edge of the 6-yard box, and he can't keep the ball in either. What a huge chance for Bournemouth, and now Chelsea might ask questions about that potential penalty at the other end.
Yes, I'm sure they will. It's Neto. It's the story of the goalkeepers this afternoon, because it's a brilliant one-handed save from Neto, and it's a question. Matson catches the ball on the volley from the goalkeeper's hand, and it's a question if the defender, I think it's Sabiani, who used the hand. He didn't. He was all leg, but right to the other end. Bournemouth spring into attack, and it's Dominic Solanke, and it's a moment he's waited for the full 90 minutes. He should have taken it first time, decides to take a touch, and the touch is sloppy, and all of a sudden the chance is gone.
Here goes Gusto. Oh, was he brought down by Lloyd Kelly there? David Coote says no. Bournemouth goal kick. Gusto has stayed down. He's off the pitch. Well, Lloyd Kelly is walking away. He's still staring at Gusto. This looked a little bit clumsy. Was there enough in it there? And was the initial contact outside the area? Having seen that again, that might not quite be so bad for Bournemouth as it initially looked, although David Coote is just saying, hang on a minute. He's talking to Senesi and Neto as they prepare to take this goal kick. VAR will of course be having a look, but Gusto's up to his feet, and I think play is going to continue. Glenn Murray?
Yes, it was a clumsy coming together, I think is the best way to describe it. Kelly, the ball just got under his feet, and Gusto had the momentum, and yeah, coming together, I think that's the right decision. It would have been a very, very harsh penalty.
And we're about to get back underway. VAR are happy, David Coote is happy, and Neto prepares to take this goal kick. Really have been some outstanding saves from both goalkeepers, which is why we are still at 0-0 with 3.5 minutes plus added time to play, as Conor Gallagher goes in late on Philip Billing, and that will be a free kick to Bournemouth, and they're asking for the card against Gallagher, but it's not going to come. It's just the set piece for the home side as David Brooks prepares to come on. He's in great goal scoring form at the moment. It is so good to see that after the journey that he's had, his recovery from cancer. 3 goals in his last 4 games for club and country, his first goal since returning back in March, and he is about to come on for Bournemouth. As Kelly plays it forward, good ball taken well by Billing in his stride. Solanke's bursting through the centre. Billing down to the byline, pulls the ball across, and it fizzes past every single black and red shirt inside the area. Picked up by Aarons, plays it back in right hand side. Solanke's there, heads it straight into a Chelsea defender, and the ball is cleared away. The handball shouts from the crowd rather than the players. Kelly gets the grip and wins it back for Bournemouth, eases away from Cole Palmer down that left hand side. Palmer does well to get back there and stop the momentum of Kelly. 2.5 minutes to play. It's still goalless. It's still anyone's game between Bournemouth and Chelsea here on 5 Live. Zabani infield to Christie, nice turn from the Scotland man, plays it out to the left hand side. Here is Lloyd Kelly. Chelsea back in their shape, defending that penalty area away to our left as Christie sends it out to the left hand side, and Sinisterra, the debutant, trying to trick his way past 2 very pale green shirts. Can't do so. Cole Palmer wins the free kick, and here comes the change. And listen to the warm reception for this man. He always gets it here. David Brooks is coming on, and Ryan Christie is making way.
Yes, you can hear the applause there, and he'll be looking to add to his goals. He said he's in good goal scoring form. Could he make it 2-2 in the Premier League, 3-3 in his last 3 games? Iriola will definitely hope so. It's just a question of how much added time there's going to be, as there's only 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the 90.
Well, we know this season that they are adding a lot more on for stoppages, but in terms of actually thinking about stoppages, we've not had a goal, we've not had a on-field or lengthy at all VAR check. Of course, they're always monitoring the background, but there hasn't been much time wasting by either side. There haven't been lengthy injuries, so we shall see. We had 1 minute at the end of the first half. Still, there is time for either Bournemouth or Chelsea.
I'm going for a conservative 3.
3, okay, that's Glenn Murray's prediction. Bournemouth come forward, Solanke won't reach it. Chelsea have given it away though, they're getting sloppy late on. Here is Cliver, right hand side for Bournemouth, as they look to break the deadlock late on. David Brooks now in such good form at the moment, 25 yards out, now 20, feeds the ball to Solanke inside the area. His shot is blocked, Kelly keeps it alive, out to the right hand side. Bournemouth go, ball in, is headed away by Chilwell. It's out for a Bournemouth throw.
And the best way to describe this now is that Chelsea are hanging on in this game as we approach the 90th minute mark.
20 seconds plus added time to play. It's goalless here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Everton against Arsenal, full commentary coming up from 4:30 at Goodison Park. But both managers really looking for this late victory. It will be the first for Bournemouth in the Premier League under Iraola. Pochettino only has wanted his name in the league for Chelsea. Lloyd Kelly's ball into the area, fizzed in, deflected away. 8 minutes. 8 minutes of added time. Glenn Murray, your 3 minutes is completely wrong.
Wow, that is incredible. That's the most exciting thing that's happened in the game.
We have had substitutions, we should say, and they are looking at exactly how long those take. But 8 minutes, this is it. This is the new Premier League. Here come Chelsea. Maatsen, edge of the area, back to Jackson, lays it off to Conor Gallagher, 25 yards out, right-hand side now to Gusto, whips the ball in right-footed. It's over the head of Sterling, who let it bounce, and will pick it up on the left-hand side. Chilwell gesturing for Ugachukwu to come forward, but Sterling was offside. And it is a free kick to Bournemouth over in, finally, the sunshine on the south coast here on 5 Live.
Yes, thankfully we did get a little bit of added time, so we've seen the sunshine come out from behind the dark clouds.
So, 1 minute of the 8 minutes added on has gone. It's 0-0. It's full time in the Rugby World Cup. Claire Thomas.
Well, barring 15 minutes when Romanian resilience held them scoreless, it's been a procession for the reigning champions, who've put 12 tries on the world number 19s. They have missed 10 points off the tee, though, which is an area they'll need to address ahead of their seismic clash with Ireland next weekend. Mind you, Stars rested in a bonus point victory. It's been a good day at the office. Full time in Bordeaux, South Africa 76, Romania 0.
Thanks, Claire. The ball is through with Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. England against Japan commentary from the Rugby World Cup to come on 5 Live at 8 o'clock. I'm still chuckling away about the 3 minutes, Glenn.
Do you know what? I nearly fell off my chair if I had room to move.
Chelsea in possession. We have played almost 2 of the minimum 8 minutes added on. And here comes Ugachukwu. Over on that far side is Chilwell, but it's a poor ball. And the ball is out of play for a Bournemouth throw. Overall then, as Pochettino crouches on the edge of his technical area, how would you assess Chelsea's performance today, Glenn?
That's a really difficult thing to ask, Vicky. I mean, Pochettino, a world-class manager, is down on his haunches there, and you can see he's clearly frustrated because at moments this Chelsea team look so good and so fluid and so quick in attack, and then at other times they just look like they've never played together. I would say still a work in progress, a lot still to be done, but the potential is there.
And they're trying to win it back with Gusto. They do. He's been a real bright spark for them. Lovely little touch to find Conor Gallagher. Ugachukwu plays it out on the left-hand side to Chilwell. Here now is Raheem Sterling. Midfield to Ugachukwu once more. Sees Gusto in space. Still time for either side to win this. 5 minutes of added time to play. Here at the Vitality Stadium on BBC Radio 5 Live. Chelsea coming down the right-hand side with Cole Palmer, stepping away from Philip Billing. It's come into a central position, but it's congested. Palmer has to evade the referee David Coote as well. Now finds Ugachukwu, slides the ball through, looking for Gusto. Good defending by Clive. Gusto did manage to get the ball across, and Neto is very alert to the danger. Comes out and gathers and bowls the ball out over arm to the debutant, Luis Sinisterra. Plays it forward. Solanke picks it up on the halfway line, and suddenly Chelsea is stretched. They're trying to get the light green shirts back. Here is David Brooks. Plays the ball looking for Solanke. Just evades the Bournemouth striker and is cleared away on the edge of the penalty area by Chelsea up towards the halfway line. Nicholas Jackson is tussling with Zabani, the centre half who stepped out, the tall Ukrainian. Appeal for handball. Decision goes against Chelsea, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth just inside the Chelsea half, and we have just over 4 minutes of added time to play.
It's a question now if Bournemouth can try and get their first win of the season. I think this performance does deserve it. Some bad decisions in key moments, but still finishing this game the stronger of the two sides.
And they have a set piece just inside the Chelsea half on the right hand side. Lewis Cook, one of those over it as Max Aarons moves away, and they have sent the black and red striped shirts forward to the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Here goes Cook, lifts the free kick in high. It's poor, it bounces behind, and again, as we saw a little bit in the first half, Glenn Murray, things just seem to be petering out. It's almost since they put up the 8 minutes. I mean, Bournemouth were really in the ascendancy there. Then Chelsea got the ball essentially as the board went up, and it's almost as though a few nerves have crept in around the fans that, we've got 8 minutes now, and Chelsea have wrested control away from us.
Yeah, it just fizzled out. That ball there from Lewis Cook was floated in, but it was definitely a set piece routine because he looked towards the bench and held his arms aloft as in why hasn't he made that run, whoever was meant to make it. But it was Conor Gallagher that let it just float over his head, who I think has been definitely a shining light for Chelsea this afternoon.
Chilwell going into the book after pulling back Kluivert. Cynical foul from the Chelsea vice-captain who has come off the bench. It was one of the tactical changes that Maurizio Pochettino made. No Moses Caicedo today because of injury, but Chilwell was dropped. They tried something a little different, but goal scoring still a problem for Chelsea. Of course, that's not a problem that started with Pochettino. They do have so many players to come back, but it's a blank against Bournemouth unless we are to have late drama in the final 2.5 minutes of added time. It's Chelsea in possession with Gallagher just inside his own half. Bournemouth putting on the press. Gallagher slots it between two Bournemouth players and finds Cole Palmer out to the left-hand side now, and Chilwell. Raheem Sterling to pick it up. Chilwell's continued his run. Back to Ugachukwu, 19-year-old in the centre for Chelsea. And now Disasi plays it out to the right-hand side, and Gusto. Bournemouth back in their shape, but they've got defending to do as Gallagher picks it up on the right-hand side. Philip Billing is there with him. Gallagher plays the ball into Gusto. Chelsea have the options in and around the penalty area, but they're not throwing everything at this. This is patience. It's patience at the moment with the scoreline 0-0, but there's not too much time left to be patient in. There's 2 minutes of added time to play. I get the feeling that Chelsea are looking to fashion calmly one final chance. Disasi's got forward from centre half. He plays the ball in from the right wing and does win the corner. Is this the chance for Chelsea?
They will certainly hope so. They'll be hoping to rob 3 points from the South Coast here as Ben Chilwell's going to take this corner. It's just the question, is he going to put it in the mix? No, he's gone short again.
He's gone short, and Bournemouth need to stay switched on. It's come to Sterling, who plays it back to Chilwell. Space down the right-hand side, pulls the ball across. Matson was coming in for the header, but he can't reach it. But Bournemouth are so deep, there's nobody there to retrieve it. Chelsea send it back in with Gusto, headed away by Senesi powerfully, and now they can counter, and it could be 3-on-3 here for Bournemouth if Kluivert can get past Chilwell, but he can't. Chilwell does well to hold him up. Kluivert's ball across looking for Brooks. It will run for Lewis Cook over on the far side, right hand side of the penalty area. Brooks is in the box, and Sanchez is there, claims the ball, bowls it out underarm. We've got 1 minute of added time to play. Pochettino out on the edge of his technical area. It's goalless at the Vitality between Bournemouth and Chelsea on 5 Live. A goal now is surely the winner. Can either side find it? Chelsea in possession, Glenn Murray.
There just seems to be a lack of energy. The whole of Bournemouth's squad has retreated, and there were still 7 Chelsea players in their own half there. There just seems to be a lack of energy.
15 seconds to play as well. I mean, they're running out of time.
Exactly, and that's where the frustration lies for Pochettino. He wants more energy, wants more spark from these players.
Well, he looks calm on the touchline. He's not shouting and screaming, but Chelsea have run out of time. If you pass it around, then that's what happens. And the Chelsea fans over on that far side not too happy with the way that final minute or so played out. But Bournemouth players, several of them, are down on their haunches. They have given it absolutely everything. And Glenn Murray, you can hear warm applause around the Vitality, because again, promising signs under Andoni Iraola. They've got a point against Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely promising from Bournemouth's point of view. We're in the game the whole afternoon. Obviously ended up with a point, but could have won it right at the last. Solanke had a brilliant opportunity where he tried to control it in the 6-yard box, when he probably, if he had his time again, he would have decided to take it first time. But from Chelsea's point of view, a little bit disappointing. They controlled the game for large periods without really carving out an opportunity, and towards the end of the game they just seemed to run out of energy and emphasis.
And a first clean sheet under Iraola for Bournemouth as well. They had conceded 10 goals in the 5 games this season, but they have kept Chelsea at bay, and they've done so in a pretty controlled manner. We have to mention both keepers as well. Some great saves, both from Neto and Sanchez. But it finishes on the South Coast. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0.
Yeah, Glenn, those 2 goalkeepers were outstanding.
Yeah, they were. They both pulled off a couple of brilliant saves, and I think both dressing rooms will be looking towards their number ones and saying, thank you very much, we owe you our draw bonus this afternoon.
The Chelsea fans are going to have to be incredibly patient this season, aren't they?
Yes, they are, and I can totally understand the frustration, because like I said in commentary there are moments when they just cut through Bournemouth, and it looks so effortless when their brilliant players got on the ball and expressed themselves. It's just that final pass, that final decision that they just don't seem to be able to get right at the moment. And it is those connections and those understandings and those relationships at the top end of the field. But I do feel when it doesn't quite happen for them, they become a little bit pedestrian, and that's a dangerous thing to fall into.
And look, I appreciate none of us know the answer to this, but on one hand you could say, well, when it clicks it'll be really good, but there are no guarantees that it will.
No, there's one thing in football, is that there definitely is no guarantees, Steve. And do you know what? I look at Nicholas Jackson and I like him. He's raw, definitely. He's powerful. He's athletic. He can get round the field. He definitely puts a shift in for his squad. But just think I want a little bit more from him, as in getting hold of the likes of Cole Palmer and Sterling and saying, put the ball there and I'll arrive. I'll be there, and commanding the people around you. As a striker, you need to build those relationships. And I used to have to do it all the time. I used to have to say, give me the ball at a certain point. I will be there. If I'm not there, you can turn around and give me an absolute earful. Right? Do you know? But that's what it is. And then all of a sudden they're thinking, right, I've got the ball there. I'm going to find this back stick, because that's where he said he was going to be. And lo and behold, that's how you build the relationships.
Biggest credit that you can give to Bournemouth is that in the final few minutes there was a period when Chelsea were absolutely clinging on.
Yes, there was. And credit to Bournemouth. I think it was even. I don't think. I think the contest was extremely even. I think both teams had positive aspects in different times in the game, but Bournemouth definitely stayed in the game and asked questions at the right time. But at no point were they sat in hanging on, I didn't feel.
No, absolutely. Glenn, Vicky, thank you very much indeed. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0 then in our first commentary game at the Vitality Stadium. Everton versus Arsenal is just under 30 minutes away, so we'll take you back to Goodison very shortly.